here on the camera, celebrating many years.
The 3 magic words to end any live stream.
Pod Awful TV is with us. That's great. It says, is this live? Well, here's a clue. If there's a little red box on the screen that says live, then it's live, which it is right now as you're asking this. So just try and be more observant, maybe.
From the Marines versus these 12-year-old kids over here.
Man, why isn't this live? This is live.
This isn't live?
But I think it's live. Pretty sure, mate.
Okay, I can't even read that. Trolls go away, Trey blogs, people in it not live, this isn't live.
This is the same episode I saw last week. No.
Live unless you're watching it later and it isn't live.
Yeah, totally live.
If it's currently 3/27/2020 at 6:48.
How is it that easy? I knew it.
Yeah, we're super live.
Somebody's like, when was this recorded?
This is just a premiere. Why are you lying about being live? How can we lie about that?
That's weird.
You guys are being weird.
I know that you can actually premiere videos on YouTube, and a lot of people got turned off by that back when I used to do it, and I still do it for some videos, but they get mad because you're in but it's a video.
He's responding. We're still saying it's not live.
This is a live stream. There's a difference between
like,
premiere
of
and
course
live
it's
stream.
live.
YouTube
You're
doesn't do a very
responding
good job
to us.
differentiating.
What? Who is this person?
Nah.
This is live. No. Oh, guess what? That's a good question.
Pod Awful TV says, sorry, are you premiering a rerun? Well, I don't think they premiere reruns. I mean, when you think about that concept just in its basic logical terms, why would you premiere a rerun?
Oh, I get it. They're upset over my channel because they can't have anybody speaking, so they have to troll.
What?
It's not live. Only the chat is live. Okay. Is that true, you guys? Is that live?
Is this live? Yes, it is live. I think.
Super troll alert. yeah, I smell them. Their odor comes right through.
The odor.
This is not pre-recorded.
This isn't live. This is live. Hello. This is not recorded. This is live. James.
Yes, this is live. Pod Awful. Is it pre-recorded? Maybe pre-recorded.
To his
Is this
chat.
pre-recorded? No.
Is this pre-recorded? That one's getting it. That one always gets them so bad.
The past is a precursing event. Huh?
Wow, look at them coming. Guys, they're coming. The trolls are coming. Come on down, boys.
Who moderated
I've been in
me?
your mama's basement way too long.
They literally look like they're in a basement.
Come on down, boys. Go ahead and troll on
Stealing
out.
valor.
Ran out of something to do.
Pod Awful 2, you would like this too? I think you'd look beautiful in it. It would go good with your eyes.
Can I prove it? I mean, I'm talking to you and replying in time.
God damn, they're still going.
I'm pretty sure that I'm sitting here right now and playing it.
Hello.
Is this live?
It just depends on your definition of live.
Like, can people hear me right now? What I'm saying right now?
Well, I can.
But I saw this one last week.
Did you?
No, yeah,
Well, I appreciate you tuning in a week early.
I saw this one last week. Why are you replaying episodes?
Oh, now you got to turn your radio down in the background, please.
What's a radio?
Whatever, your computer.
That's
Turn-
exactly what you said last week.
Turn.
Can this kids? Hold on. Sorry, my comments are just.
I blocked one. Oh, good. Thank you. Yeah, I don't know how to block them on here. I gotta figure it out. But I never have enough time to sit still and go through the back end of this thing because I really don't have enough time to sit still. So.
Yeah, my moderator is busy now and I need to get another one. You're absolutely right.
Y'all, this is a face mask. I'm doing a face mask. Oh my goodness.
He's gonna do some blocking.
Heard of this, and it's
I'm
free to
just gonna
play.
start banning
still?
people.
He's
gonna
banning
ban people who are talking that this isn't live.
Yeah,
It was funny, but it's not funny anymore.
Okay, I get the joke, Pod Awful. It's not particularly that funny.
Is it live? Yeah, I don't know how to block the trolls while I'm here. Can you remote view? I don't remote view, but yes, you can.
Sasha Grey, she's the second top one.
Dude, somebody said that she streams on Twitch, and I haven't looked yet. Let's see her on. It's Sasha Grey. Let me see if I'm gonna make sure I'm following her.
It's literally a face mask. I don't understand.
Let's see what's going on here. Sasha Grey died 2 weeks ago. Oh my God, what is wrong with you people? What is wrong with all these people in chat? Jesus.
I'll just ignore that shit.
My God. I cannot believe, like... Wait, I don't even know... I can't... It won't even let me ban people. You got to take it on.
Oh, they just jump on here, don't they? Isn't it great? Don't worry, they'll get taken care of.
Gives me anxiety to deal with that.
Everyone here knows that I'm wearing a face mask, right?
No.
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 How could I show you the front page of ABC News on my cell phone a week in advance? I couldn't. See that news story there? Biden to announce whatever it says. Here, I go back. Yeah, just click on this story. Yeah, you can't do that a week in advance.
I prove it's live. How do you want me to prove it's live? If it's a restream, then I wouldn't be able to read your chat, man.
They proved it's live? Oh my God. We've already proved it. So Liz, you know, just go ahead and... You know how they'll know it's live? Because we banned them when we said you're banning them. So then they'll know for sure. Hey, Kilbit, thank you so much for the 2
last
and also Warzone is free tonight.
Oh, he's ending the show as a result. Wow.
Do a spin. Alright. Don't hit anything. There we go.
She's taking it off. We're making her take it off.
That was heck.
That is a spin and a shoe on the head. And that's all you get from me.
Hi, and welcome to the Tom Gully Show. You're on the air now.
Hi, Tom. It's me, you.
It sure is.
I'm Tom. I'm you from the present. You're from the past.
So, just so you know, it's Friday, 6:16 p.m. on August 28th. We're live, baby, not recorded, you assholes.
We interrupt this program to bring you the trolls. The trolls.
Thank you.
Give them a big hand, guys.
Thank you.
We salute you guys.
By the way, you can watch full unedited episodes of Pod Awful straight from the live stream. Oh, but is it live? And you can go to http://podawful.tv. Where in the world is Jesse from Pod Awful?
He's right here, Tom. Let's go bully the internet.
Pod Awful TV.
Oh, y'all is doing it right. Pod Awful sucks, you faggot. Good boy. You scam artist, douchebag. You're the worst, motherfucker. Get off. You fucking little piece of shit. You're crazy. You're fucking dweeb, faggot, jackass. Pod Awful sucks. You know what? You're not funny. I want to really kick your ass.
You're human trash. My mom doesn't like it when I mention Pod Awful anymore.
Welcome, everybody. Those 3 magic words. Is this live? And you'll be asking yourself at the end of this episode, is it? Is this live? I don't know. Let's check in with the chat room, see what they're saying in there. We're live as we are every Sunday, Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, podawful.tv on Sundays, podawful.pizza on Wednesdays. Wow, yes, look at all of those great comments. Boy, yep, there's one from probably Lila. Hey, look at that. Angie said something. Oh, and there is my wife. Well, anyway, great comments, everybody. I'm your host, Jesse. This is Pod Awful. Is this live? We stumbled across this almost by accident, really. I mean, we were just looking for a way to troll people live on YouTube and Twitch and all these different platforms, and it turns out it takes almost nothing. Like, I've been trying too hard for too long. It really, you can go into any stream, just about any stream. I say any live stream. Maybe it's a little clickbaity to say that. You can't go into the ones where there's constantly chats going by. You'll never see it that way. Like, it'll never happen. No one's ever going to see that. They're not. You want one where you can actually interact with the person, but you'd be surprised how few people it takes. Like you don't need a whole brigade. Obviously, I've got a bunch of people around me that can do it with me, and we go in there. But you really don't have to spam the chat. Usually, in those clips you saw, most of them were reacting to me, the very first comment that said, "Is this live?" You ask them, "Is this live?" They start getting nervous. They start sweating. You say, "This is pre-recorded." They start getting defensive. You tell them you saw that episode last week already, and they start getting angry. It's truly beautiful. It's subtle. It's just this tiny little thing. It's almost meaningless, and yet it works every time, and it's brilliant. We could try it right now. I didn't even think about this, but it occurred to me. We could try this live right now just to see what happens. There's a live tab on YouTube, but before we do that, we will do it. Let's try this, though. I want to let you know, before we get into all this, exactly where this episode is going, because I don't think it's going exactly the way you may think. I know a lot of people, they've been wondering what's going on with the Mersh stuff. We'll kind of talk about that a little bit. I'll give you a tiny little Mersh update, and then nothing for a real long time, because I got a brand new goon for you. You're going to love this guy. We're going to talk about a new type of guy. We've got a brand new goon, and it's all going to end in, well, only the most pod-awful way possible. Stick around and find out. Let's go to YouTube right now. I'm just doing this live. YouTube.com. And they've got a live tab on here somewhere. Okay, I see I'm live, so that's good. Working. Says I'm live. Am I live? Only one way to check, and it's by reading the chat room. Yep, there it is. So, proved it. Okay, let me go to their live tab. And then what you do is you scroll down, and you find something where the best bet, your absolute best bet on this, is you find a boomer. You find a 40 to 60-year-old guy. Maybe he's sitting in his truck with his sunglasses on the back of his head. You know, he forgot. He just, I don't know, maybe he put on his shirt backwards that day too. Maybe he was into crisscross when he was a kid. I'm not sure, but he's got the sunglasses on back there. I don't know. He just got back from fishing, probably. You look for that guy. You look for a guy who's like telling you about the news that happened 2 weeks ago with Q. That's the perfect guy for this sort of thing. So let me see what's live right now. Okay, we got upcoming, live now, perfect. Now this one, 10,000 people watching. See, that one you can assume the chat's going by so quick, it's not even worth clicking on. Now here's one. Okay, now here's an interesting one. This is only 2.3 thousand people watching. It's a church. Join us now. Now a church may not actually pay attention to its chat room. Let me see. No, they're just singing. Okay, so you have to be a little selective. I mean, let's be real about this. You have to be a little bit selective, but you do it the right way, and you will stumble upon some of the Earth's mightiest goons. It's truly spectacular. Let's see what else we've got here. We've got some gamers, sleep music. You know, this might just be a bad time for streams in general. Who else is live? Got a bunch of gaming stuff. See, this is what's happening is YouTube is recommending it to me. I didn't plan this out or anything. We made, okay, hang on a second. Samara Games, it says we made it.
How to box someone in the game.
Okay, so it's just a girl game. Let's see if we'll give it a second here. Let's see if she is, in fact, even looking at her chat. She might not be. give this a second here. Let's
and
take a look at this.
rope and plastic. Then I get a paddle in a direction and see if I notice.
Wait, is she,
going.
is she reading the chat?
Oh yeah, I'm building a second floor up there.
Okay.
Okay, it sounds like she's just talking to a bunch of weirdos. I don't know. Again, it's not foolproof, but it's good. You know, you get a lot of good results out of it.
Because the what's it called? Like,
Let's just, you know what? Let's test it. Let's just test it. And we always do all caps mode. You got to do all caps on this, and you just say, "Is this
Can one of you guys
live?"
make me a fishing rod while I eat, so I can fish and eat at the same time?
This is pre-recorded. Okay,
I
let's
literally
see.
have
I don't
one
know
on
if they're
me.
even paying
Contribute.
attention.
you want to do?
You good?
Okay, let me see if this is the right direction.
Wait, so you can actually glitch the game like this?
Yeah, it is the right direction. Perfect.
You can place the thing anywhere as long as it has 2 carpets underneath it.
Phenomenal.
You can place the motor anywhere as long as it has 2 carpets underneath
Oh, put it on the roof.
Okay, maybe not. Maybe not. I don't know. Can I participate? If you can find the stream, anybody can participate in any of these. Again, I'm trying to find something for you guys because I wasn't planning this part of it. We really want to focus on tonight's goon, to be honest. I mean, I got you a pretty good murderer's row of examples of this working at the beginning of the show here, but I don't know gamers. I think that's my problem. I don't know gaming. I'm looking for boomers, and right now, oh, here we go. If I click live now on here, maybe it'll show me some more stuff. There's got to be some like old man pretending he's on the radio or something, which we will be talking about tonight on the show. We found a hit. It's all gamers. What is wrong with you people? You're adults. Stop it. God, maybe once in a while, but golly, there's a lot of gamers on here. Jesus Christ. You know, I'm going to make fun of radio guys tonight, but that might be a more reasonable thing than whatever I'm looking at here. We've got some Spanish people talking about superhero. Okay, hang on. DW News Live. Let's see. Is this a real thing? Nope. That is just somebody restreaming African people climbing trees. God damn. I guess we just like really lucked into all the streams we got. Most of the things you saw in the intro of the show were from one night. That was basically one night, and then Tom Gully, who's our goon tonight. Let's see about that. All right, we'll go to one with a ton of this guy.
Hey everyone, me
doesn't even
Kevin
have
here
a
in
chat
Discord.
room.
We just ran a bit.
That's not even live. That's a video. YouTube is lying. I don't know. YouTube is screwing with me right now. All right, forget about it. You saw it. You can do it. Go figure it out for yourself. Go to Twitch, whatever. Got it. Wait, what did they say in the chat room? Hang on a second. Oh, okay. So anyway, let's get into it. All right, I know what you want to hear. You want to hear the updates on the Mersh stuff. Let's get that part over with right now. It's done. Mersh is a liar and an idiot. He's stupid, and he's provided no proof that I've deplatformed him. I've issued him the challenge to do so. I privately emailed him and said, put it out there. Find one screenshot, one iota of evidence that I might have had something to do with him being taken off of Streamlabs and or Stream Elements or even anything else. Now, the irony here is when you do this Is This Live thing, it often ends the live streams. But the last thing on earth I ever want to happen is for these people to stop streaming, to stop being online. And Mersh, of course, is included in that. Well, guess what? All those of you who gunt guard him, all the boomer old women who come to my comments to complain, to justify the money they've spent on this cross-eyed retard, you're in luck. We're done. I'm done with Mersh because I've found a new Mersh, a better Mersh, a Mersh and a Royce. Here's what you may not realize about Mersh and Royce, okay? They are a type of guy. We've talked about a lot of these types of guys, you know, the Earth's Jokers, for instance. tactical people, mall ninjas. I don't know. What else have we talked about on this show? Gas station guys. One of my favorite ones, gas station guys. Guys that hang out at gas stations. There's a lot of different types of guys walking this earth. And it usually is a guy, too. Women don't seem to have interests or anything going on in their head whatsoever worth note. The only thing I've really discovered with women is that they don't seem to notice peanuts. If you have free peanuts in a jar, they don't notice them. A peanut ain't a treat to a lady. It's the only thing I've noticed about a woman as far as guys go. It's endless. I can't stop noticing these weird little idiosyncrasies. Mersh and Royce are fake radio guys. And this is a type of guy. The interesting thing with them is it's easy to go, well, they've got a show now and it's successful. And I agree with that. For the past 2 years, they've actually had a however successful show. To them, a successful show. And that's the only marker I look at. But for 13 years, they were faking it until they made it. And really, they're still just faking it. They've got fake viewers, fake bots in their chat, all this stuff. We know this for a fact now. It's been proven time and time again. They've got fake followers on Twitter. Mersh was bringing up fake it until you make it. And this is a key to being a fake radio guy. There's these guys. And listen, I want to be clear. If you are just doing it for funsies, if you're in your basement, and I mean literally, I'm never going to knock the autistic guy who's in his basement and he's got his own train set going around. It's probably pretty cool. I bet it's even cooler now, his locomotives going around now that his wife has divorced him. I bet it's pretty awesome. If a guy's got a hobby, if he's got an interest and he really autistically just leans into it, it's honestly admirable. It's something to admire. It's something to look at the very least. And I think it's kind of cool when a guy does this. If a guy wants to sit in his home and take a spare bedroom and turn it into a fake radio station and then pump that out to nobody every single week, I am 100% fine with that. I've done it. I didn't do it for very long. We got an audience pretty quick here at Pod Awful. Mersh and Royce did not. They've been fake radio guys they've been doing this for 13 years. And they've only had any sort of audience for about 2 years. Now, by my estimation, and I'm not so good with math. Let me do a little quick math here. Okay, 13 years. All right. Now, 3 minus 2. Now, that's 1. It's 11 years. That would mean for 11 years, they weren't making it. Which is interesting because Mersh keeps bringing up that I've done this for 10 years. Actually, happens to be 11 now. I've been doing this for 11 years, and I haven't made it. But here I am, essentially on the same level, if not really way further along than him. Because, again, I never faked it. Now, here's what Royce did. Royce just wants to pretend to be on the radio. This is the beautiful thing about their partnership, is Royce is just a fake radio guy. He wants to sit there with his choo-choo trains, woo-woo, chicka-chicka-chicka-chicka, woo-woo. He doesn't care if Marie leaves him, if she divorces him. All he cares about is if they split things up, he gets to keep the model trains. That's it. And that's why we don't hate Royce. We don't even pay attention to him. He's fine. He's nice, and he's enjoying himself. If tomorrow nobody ever tuned in to Revenge of the Sis again, well, number one, it would essentially be day wave at that point. And number two, Royce would be perfectly content. It never even occurred to him. Mersh, on the other hand, is a fake it till you make it or break it guy. This was his last chance to make it, or else he was going to floss his teeth with dynamite. Now, luckily for Mersh, and luckily for me, most of all, he actually kind of made it. And so I think, congratulations to him. I'm taking nothing away. but for a long time, he was a fake radio guy. Now, what is a fake radio guy? Well, there's a lot of ways to be one. You can go the Royce method, where you just buy microphones, you sit in your room, you record a thing, you upload it, and you don't even try to get people to find it. You don't care at all. You just put it out there. Or you go the Mersh method. And the Mersh method, that one requires deceit and a little bit of cunning, which don't confuse that with being clever. I'm just talking about being underhanded. It takes lying. And that's why the focus is on Mersh over there. Now, again, this episode and all future episodes, for the foreseeable future at least, are not about Mersh. But they're a great, Mersh and Royce, they're a perfect springboard for tonight's goon and tonight's topic. This is this live thing. We found a guy who is one of these fake radio guys. How did Mersh get into it? Well, Mersh lied and pretended like he was part of the Opie and Anthony universe. You may know this, you may not. He started hanging out with a literal retarded person named Bobo, who was a guy they would make fun of on O&A, and he used that to try to backdoor his way into being a regular on Opie and Anthony. And it didn't work at all. So instead, for years, Mersh just hung out with a retarded person for no reason. And again, I'm talking about Bobo and not Royce. Now, in the meantime, he did occasionally have to go over to Royce's house and pretend to be on the radio with him in order for this to keep going. This is a little segment of fake radio guy called Keeping Up Appearances. Again, if you just want to do it for fun, salute, okay? 07's in the chat. To all the fellows out there just having fun. Maybe you're just an audio guy. You're a gearhead. You just enjoy going to Guitar Center and annoying some 17-year-old about XLR cables. That's perfectly fine. Unless, of course, you're doing that because you want to talk to a 17-year-old boy. And then get into trains. There is no one working at the hobby store that is under the age of 43 years old. Look it up. You can find that out for yourself. I don't make the rules on this one. It's true. Go to the place. They've got the Magic the Gathering stuff or whatever. They've got the Warhammer 40K. Something. I think that's a thing. Wherever you go to paint your figurines, you go there. Nobody in there is under the age of 43 years old. That's the cutoff point, and they've got a beard. So you're good to go. You know, grass on the chin, play ball, folks. Anyway, Mersh, for a very long time, was also a fake radio guy. And in a lot of ways, he still is. I don't want to get too deep into that, so let's focus in on this a little bit more. When it comes to the general idea of fake radio guys, there's another way to do it. And it's a very, very deceitful way. And it's one that you probably don't even really know about, but you've probably heard it. If you've ever listened to the radio, you may have come across this on your dial at some point. And by the way, this entire thing is the realm of boomers at this point. The idea of pretending you're on the radio, like calling what you do now on the internet radio, is so stupid. I fell into that trap when I first started doing a podcast, but I did it because no one knew what a podcast was 11 years ago. You had to tell them internet radio or they didn't understand. In fact, the name of my YouTube channel is Podawful TV, because I figured, well, one of them I'm calling radio, the video version I'll call TV. You know, it's just one of those little things that you kind of put together, and then eventually you drop if you're smart. Tom Gully is not smart. Tom Gully thinks he's smart, but he is one of the stupidest people I've ever run into on the internet. And when I say Tom Gully is the new Mersh, you're not going to believe me, but I am going to work so hard to prove it to you, because this guy might be the most milkable cow I've seen yet. I'm saying that on the heels of Mersh Believe me, I am not overselling this to you. Now, who is Tom Gully? Well, you saw him in the intro of the show. He's the guy that started the whole thing. He's the one who read my name, Pod Awful TV. You can find Pod Awful Sundays and Wednesdays. That guy, the guy with the teeth. We're going to have to talk about the teeth at some point, so we might as well talk about the teeth. The guy with the teeth. If you're listening to the audio version of this, maybe you haven't seen Tom Gully's teeth yet. If you're not part of our Discord, where a lot of this fun has been going on for the past 2 weeks, we've been priming this goon for this episode. And join our Discord, podawful.com/Discord. It's essentially the new cult. You really should get into the Discord. It used to be Facebook.
And all I just said is I thank Dad for making me strong.
Join our cult on Facebook, podawful.com/cult.
So now we're on Discord more, though. We're still on Facebook. You can still join the cult over at podawful.com/cult. Also, podawful.com/Discord. You'd already be in on the gag here with Tom Gully. Everybody watching this live right now. Is this live? Yeah, that looks live. I don't know. All I'm saying is everything with Tom Gully, like, we are Gully heads now. And Tom doesn't like that. Tom is a very particular man. We came in and we tried to be fans of his, and we called ourselves the Gully heads, and he said, no. My fans, my fans are called the Gullerinos. So you guys aren't welcome here. I only accept the Gullerinos. The Gullerinos, by the way, are one guy. This is a guy who is pretending. He lies and says he's on the real radio, and it's a lie. He's not. I've looked for 2 weeks, and I cannot find this man on the real radio, and it would be bizarre if he was on the real radio, because this is a man who is broadcasting to one man, and that man's name is Morty Vicker. Get used to that name, Morty Vicker, because you're going to be hearing it a lot. Imagine tuning into your radio. Like, truly, think about this. Somehow, you're brain dead. You get in your car, you forgot your aux cable, you're driving a 10-year-old Beamer, so you don't have Bluetooth built in, and you decide, you know what? Oh, that's right. There's a radio here. I've been listening to this thing in forever. Let me dust this off. Now, how does this work again? What does tune mean? Is that to get music? Or that wasn't me tuning, by the way. That was the sound of the radio station I'm listening to playing radio sound effects over the radio. And I'm just sitting here. I'm actually just doing something with the defrost right now because I don't know how a goddamn radio works to save my life. I go, wait a second. Hang on. That's right. I used to have presets in the... Now, what were the presets? And then you press those and realize those were erased long ago. And also, that was a different car. You don't even own the same car anymore. And somehow, by a miracle, you find yourself on the AM part of the... I don't even know how that works. Like, you press the AM button, you think like, oh yeah, it's morning. Let me press that. Okay. And somehow... you manage to get a signal, and it's not just... it's just a probe droid on Hoth. And somehow, you manage to find Tom Gully on the radio. It's impossible. Again, he's not on there. He's lying. He's a fake radio guy. But it was possible at one point. So let's say it's back then. And you tune into his show. And you hear him doing his show. What do you expect to hear? Now, he says he's a sports broadcaster, which is interesting because I almost never hear him talk about sports unless he's mindlessly watching a sport on his TV off camera silently and then occasionally commenting on it to his audience, who, again, are apparently part of a real radio network, according to him. Here's what you would actually hear, though, if you were to tune in to the Tom Gully Show on your radio dial. So here's an article I found. on the internet 12 minutes ago, and he just reads it. He just reads it. The top 12 ways people get in trouble at the bank. And then he just reads those with no commentary. And then, by the way, is this starting to sound familiar? Wait until you hear this. Then he reads the chat room. Now, I thought this was the land of just streamers. I thought only streamers are stupid enough to sit there and their whole show is just reacting to a chat room while they put pre-made graphics from OBS on screen. I thought Tom Gully claims to be on the Real Radio, and his Real Radio show is him reading the chat from Morty Vicker, one guy named Morty Vicker. I can't get over this, okay? If I seem too crazed by this, it's because you just don't understand it yet. You're not there yet. I'm going to bring you there. Give me a minute. I love Tom Gully. I got to be clear. I love Tom Gully, okay? But he is wildly reminiscent of a now dead goon. Just reading the chat and reading Twitter articles and articles he found 2 seconds ago. And then he goes, Morty Vicker in the chat says, I'm watching the UFC right now. Good one, Morty. Let me see what else. Now, let me be fair. There are other people in this chat. And I'm not talking about just the Gully heads, pot awful when we show up. Not just the piranhas. There's 4 other people. And those 4 other people seem to be friends and family of Tom Gully. Again, I have no issue with this if you acknowledge that you're a fake radio man. Tom Gully not only lies about this, he leans into it, okay? Let me take a look here. Actually, I'll show you a little Tom Gully, okay? This is a clip. I'm going to show you just a tiny portion of this. There was an over 4-hour episode of Tom Gully show. It's normally like an hour or 2. And somehow I managed to completely take over his show at one point. This episode, when I started talking to him, this immediately became like bonus show, he was saying. He was going to only leave this up on YouTube. But by the time I was done with him, he was so embarrassed with what we had done to his show that he deleted this off of YouTube forever. Hey, Tom, I know you're watching. I saved it. And by the way, I save all of Tom's streams from now on. You can get those in the Pizza Fund. Check this out. This is Tom Gully. This is him live. And of course, he sits there underneath his Can't Fix Stupid banner, which for some reason, like, Tom thinks he's a Mr. Intelligence. All right. He might as well have a pipe and a fedora on. This guy is running circles around the competition. Yet he didn't figure out putting a sign that says, Can't Fix Stupid right above your own head, and then blocking the Can't Fix with your stupid cassava melon for most of your show kind of makes it look like you're just calling yourself stupid.
You're probably under the assumption that you're on the air right now with me. But I potted you down a long time ago.
So this is great. So again, he's a Mr. Intelligence. I've called in, and he was mad at whatever it was I had to say. So he muted me. Now, I knew he muted me, so I hung up. But Tom did not know I had hung up yet. So here he is talking, like he's basically the villain at the end of the movie explaining his Xanatos gambit to the protagonist. Like, actually, I've had you. You know, it's like in V for Vendetta when he tells the old lady that he had given her the poison, 12 minutes ago before she woke up. He's doing that to me right now, and little does he know, I've been gone. I had already hung up. And when he realizes it, because he's a Mr. Intelligence, he can't let it go. And why can't he let it go? Because you can't fix stupid. Say that with me in the chat, by the way.
Because you're not going to talk over me on my show. It's just not going to happen.
By the way, this isn't just a still picture. This is his live video. Every time he takes a Skype call on his show, it makes his video freeze. In this episode, I actually gave him the solution to this. I had run into this problem before back when we used Skype on Pod Awful. I have seen this happen. I told him how to fix it, but you can't fix stupid. He still hasn't fixed it. So the image will be a little jumpy, but that might be apropos. You'll find out why in a bit.
You're probably under the assumption that you're on the air right now with me. But I potted you down a long time ago. Because you're not going to talk over me on my show. It's just not going to happen.
That's not what was happening, by the way. I was just saying things he didn't like.
Ever.
And then you hear that? Listen very carefully. A familiar sound. Suddenly you can hear the Skype ringtone while he's saying that because I had already hung up. So now it's been revealed. The Emperor wears no clothes. He isn't keeping me there, and he's figured out how to get me by muting me. I'm gone. Does he admit that?
It's not going to happen. There you go. Well, I can pot it down further.
He can pot it down further. And this is a fake radio guy. They love using the radio terms. Revenge of the Sis used to do this in the beginning. I don't know if they still do this now. They used to call their content for their episode their prep. They do prep work, their prep. Let me get my prep ready. That's radio talk. You call headphones cans. You say pot it down. Classic fake radio guy stuff. Savor this. Enjoy it. Because where this is going, you'll never believe, okay? We're not the first people to bully Tom Gully. The first people to bully... Well, you know what? I'll save it.
Just not going to happen. You might think you can do it. It's not going to happen.
He's got a sign behind him that says, I would challenge you to a battle of wits, but I see you are unarmed. Man, is he a part of the intelligent dark web? What was that thing? Joe Rogan, Ben Shapiro, I don't know, Adam Sandler was probably in there. The Amazing Atheist was in it. Mac from Mac and Me. What was that group called? It was like the intelligentsia of the dark, evil mind, the rape you with facts and logic guys. You know, Jordan Peterson was a part of it. You know, Joe, we should start a group, Joe, where we have battles of wits with people who are unarmed. Let's go Steven Crowder style. Let's go Steven Crowder style to a college and challenge literal children to debates, Joe. Oh, wow, it's wild. What was that called? The intellectual dark web. I was basically right, I think.
Wouldn't do it in a million years. Not going to happen. And you're just dumb. I don't mind that you're dumb. I mean, you should mind that you're dumb. I didn't make you dumb. You were dumb when I met you. You were dumb when you came here. That you worked on that your whole life. But please.
So this is a guy. His whole show is talking to one guy. New audience members show up for the first time ever. And he immediately just starts shitting on them. And it's in the most... listen, I love petty. You guys know I love petty. This ain't petty. This is pedantic. You know, it's a third grader's idea of arguing with people. Well, you say, hey, Tom, can you do this on the show? And he goes, can I do it? Well, I can do it, but perhaps you meant, may I? And no, I won't. Ah! I'm sorry. You know what? That was wrong of me to do. I have been holding in a lot of frustration with Tom over the past 2 weeks and a big part of that is because, and I don't know if you know this or not, I've posted about it a couple times, but maybe you didn't know who Tom was. I actually now legally own Tom's show. It turns out I looked into the patent offices and the trademark offices and all that kind of stuff. It turns out Tom did not own his own show, and I found the guys who did, and I bought the show from them, and I now own the rights to it. So in this clip, when I call him up, I'm trying to help him out with his show. I always try. with the goons, you'll notice this. I always give them tips. I always give them pointers. I always try to get them on the right path. And then they lean against it. And every time they push back, well, I'm going to stand my ground, Florida style. Bang, 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 bang. I don't mean bang energy. I got to stand my ground on it. And then it's a push and a pull and a push and a pull. And then we end up a year and a half later with hundreds of episodes about one guy. Tom, I'm your new boss. And I know, by the way, Tom does watch this show. I have the proof of it. I called his show yesterday, and he tried to claim that he does not listen to my show. He doesn't watch it. But in this video, I have him admitting that he watched, by the way, the last Mersh episode of the show. The whole thing. He referenced bits from it. He says in here flat out, I watched it. He's now a Pod Awful fan. I thank you, Tom, but as your boss, you do have to listen to me now.
There it is. Hi, and welcome to Tom Gully Show. You're on the air.
Hey, Tom. Just calling through to see if it would actually go through.
So he was having a lot of trouble with his phone line. And you can hear the audio is terrible. You can barely hear what I'm saying. It's very tough to get through.
Yep. It
does clear up a little bit later.
Apparently it did. You found out.
Oh, yeah. Well, I've been calling a few times. I wasn't sure. Good to talk to you, Dr. Tom. Listen, I was wondering, what is with the name, your channel called Dumpy Jump Tooth?
Okay, now there's a few little things in there. I just referred to him as Dr. Tom, and I asked him about Gumpy. I can't. Hang on a second. We'll get into that a different way. I tell you what, this video right here it's got to be over an hour long, almost 2 hours long. It's filled with Tom golden nuggets, and it's been wiped from the internet. I own the only copy, so we will check this out in tonight's Pod After show in the Pizza Fund. Don't worry, I still got a ton of free stuff for you. And again, it's going to get insane, okay? But if you want to see this full thing and you want to support our show, this is actually my job. Unlike Tom, I'm not a fake radio guy. Join the Pizza Fund, podawful.pizza. Grab a slice. $6 level for the Pod After show is podawful.pizza.
Support the show. Join the Pizza Fund. Podawful.pizza.
Pizza, pizza.
Podawful.pizza.
Okay, so let's get into a little bit more Tom facts here. Let's learn a little bit more about Tom. Here's a shot of Tom. Tom's been doing the fake radio guy thing for a very long time. I mean, longer than me, longer than Royce, longer than anyone I know. And here on his website, The Tom Gully Show, and I do encourage you, by the way, this is a subscribe. Go to YouTube, go type in The Tom Gully Show, find him, subscribe to him, become a Gully head. You're going to love it, all right? I trust me, you're going to love it. And besides, all of the rest of us have already been banned from his chat on thousands of accounts, and he's blocked all of our numbers hundreds of times. I don't know how many new phone numbers I've made, but that's how much I love Tom. I have to get through to him, and of course, I do have to tell him what's up, you know? I got to tell him what to do on his show. I'm his boss now. Here he is reenacting the presidential debate from 2012 between Mitt Romney and Barack Obama. And as you can see, he's using sock puppets to do it. And he used a black sock for Barack Obama and a white one for Mitt Romney. Very cool. Smart guy. I wish this clip still existed, but it seems to be wiped from the internet. Trust me. I'm giving you a peek behind the curtain, just giving you an idea about Tom. My favorite thing, though, about him is this article right here, because this is the complete expose on the fake radio guy thing. This is from The Observer in Dallas, Texas, and it's all about Tom's very short-lived stint as a real radio guy. Now, he was on the real radio on an actual exciting new sports channel on the radio in Dallas, Texas. And unfortunately, things didn't go well for him. Unfortunately, things kind of fizzled out. And unfortunately, he made the dumbest mistake of his life. Now, again, he's a Mr. Intelligence. He seems to think he's a really smart guy. But I don't think a smart guy would walk away from a 6-figure job to immediately get kicked off of the fake radio. By the way, it actually is fake radio. Turns out, gotcha, it was fake. Let me read this. It says, many people think their boss is full of shit, but Tom Gully had proof. This summer, Gully left his 6-figure advertising job in Connecticut to return to broadcasting, co-hosting a morning sports show on KFCD AM with Tom Bailey. So Tom Gully was the sidekick to this guy called Tom Bailey, who launched the new format in January. Although Gully was excited to be back on the air. Now, this is interesting wording. Tom says he's been on radio forever. He's been doing it a long time. We're going to explore that a little bit more as we go here. He quickly became disillusioned with his co-host, he says, who showed up late nearly every morning. Now, this is the other guy, not Tom Gully, not our guy, Gullerino. Tom Bailey showed up late nearly every morning, antagonized guests, and uttered profanities on air. Then, just when Gully didn't think that Bailey could behave any worse, his co-host startled him with a rather embarrassing admission during a break. One morning, I'm sitting across the table from him, and he has this look on his face, a weird, uncomfortable look, Gully says. And he said, oh man, I think I just shit my pants. And he goes to the bathroom. He didn't come out for 45 minutes. On October 29th, KFCD AM, known as Sports Fan 990, switched to a gospel music format shortly after an interview with auto racing star Mario Andretti. Okay, blah, blah, blah. They actually attracted impressive guests, even though they barely registered in the ratings, this says. While Bailey, who had been okay, now this is the important part. This is the line that you're not going to fully understand, but I am willing to hold your hand and explain it to you, okay? Because I talked to Tom about this, and if you watch the Pod After show tonight, you'll see that interaction. This right here says, while Bailey, who had been leasing airtime on the station, hopes to revive the format, a parade of former staffers say that he can't run his own life, much less a radio station. The key word there is leasing. If you are leasing airtime, now you may not be familiar with this term. I doubt you are, but this is something you've probably seen before. I brought this up to Tom Gully. I said, Tom, you were buying airtime. You weren't really on the radio. You weren't Howard Stern. You weren't Opie and Anthony. You weren't, I don't know, Don Imus or Rush Limbaugh. You were an advertisement. You were buying time. They call this, the technical term, the industry term, is brokered programming, okay? But colloquially, it's referred to as leasing airtime. And I'll explain it like this. Here's how it works. Let's say you're, I don't know, I'm looking at Tom here, a dentist. Let's say you're a dentist, and maybe you've got a bit of a hammy streak to you, and I ain't talking bacon. Like maybe you've always thought you had kind of a bit of a personality. And you're looking at your business and you're going, boy, I could be doing a lot better here if I could just get a few more people. Maybe, how do I get people to know about me? And then you read about brokered programming. Well, what is it? It's essentially, in the early morning, the wee hours of the morning, like 5 a.m. really, you turn on the TV and there's what looks like a TV show on, but it's actually an advertisement, an infomercial. But I don't mean just any infomercial. I'm not talking a slap chop. I'm not talking a magic bullet. I'm not even talking one of them boner pill things. I'm talking about they go to the trouble of getting a studio audience, not the ones who sit there and clap at every little thing. It looks like a real show. You ever see these? It looks like an actual talk show. And you're like, what the hell is this 5 a.m. talk show? We're getting a little past late night here. And then you start paying attention to it, and the only thing they're talking about is, Dave's back hair remover. And you're like, this show really enjoys Dave's back hair remover. Brokered programming is that. It's the infomercial of radio. You buy a slot, the radio station goes, we've got no programming between this hour and this hour. And what we'll do is we want to get a little money in here, and nobody's listening to the radio anyway, so we can't sell ads. So we'll trick this dentist into buying his way into thinking he's actually a radio guy. You have no contract. You have no salary. You are not employed by the radio station. Instead, you are paying them to be on the air. This is worse than a cable access TV show because that's free to do. You are paying to be on air. I brought this up to Tom. I said, you paid to be on the real radio. He said, no, I didn't. I never paid to be on the radio. Now, I knew immediately what he meant by that, and I called him out on it. I said, okay, well, you're co-hosted. The guy who hired you, the guy who said, come do this with me, he was paying to be on the air, thus meaning he was not a real radio talent. You're on AM radio anyway. Neither of you then are if you're the sidekick to the guy, to the dentist, paying for a slot on the radio to advertise whatever it is you're really on there to advertise, then you are not a jock. And what Tom wants to be is a jock more than anything. He wants that gold. Tom looks up to David Letterman. He did a whole thing going to college on David Letterman, and he's one of these guys who never left college. He's a 58-year-old man who still thinks college is important. In fact, he still wears his college hoodie and his class ring, something that I didn't think any human being wore past graduation day. I've never seen it done. Before we met Tom, just a couple weeks before, I was talking to my girlfriend, my wife now. And at the time, she was my girlfriend. And I was explaining to her, because she's not from America, class rings. I don't remember how it came up, but I was telling her about class rings. And mine was so stupid, because I knew it's this stupid tradition that goes nowhere. The second you're out of high school, you never think about a class ring again. So I completely wasted me and a bunch of dorks at my school. We all decided to get ours. Instead of getting our birthstone and our name on it or whatever you're supposed to get, we got the different colors of Captain Planet's Planeteer rings. And I was fire. I got the fire one. So I got to have a red stone. And then I had the word fire inscribed on my class ring. Now, there was an issue with that. Two issues, really. Number one, when you select this, you get to select what's on both sides of the ring, and you do special engravings and all of that. And I was looking at the different choices of pictures you could have engraved on it, and I saw Martin Luther King Jr., and I went, oh, that'd be funny. That'd be funny to have Martin Luther King Jr. on my ring. That's clearly meant for black people. Come on, be honest. How bad do you have to be signaling, telling people like, hey, look how good how bad do you have to be a white guy and get Martin Luther King on your, it's not done. So I figured I'd be the first white guy to get Martin Luther King Jr. on my class ring. What I didn't realize is they inscribed the word fire right above his head. I don't know if you know this, but Martin Luther King Jr., he actually, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., he died from being shot in the head. So that didn't look good. And it looked especially bad when I then tried to explain to people, no, you don't get it. I'm a Planeteer. See, here's the other guys. They're the Planeteer. Look, he's got heart. It turns out I was the only one who went with the Planeteer scheme. So it just looked like I made a racist class ring. Now, obviously, I had every reason to just throw that ring away immediately after high school. But I was telling Kelsey, everybody, that nobody ever wears it again. Not Tom Gully. Tom Gully, he wants you to know he went to college because he's a Mr. Intelligence. He went to, by the way, I mean, I think is this an Ivy League? This has got to be one of the big ones, like one of the top schools. Ball State, Indiana. Is that like one of the? I'm pretty sure all the astronauts come out of there or something. Is it the lawyers? A bunch of lawyers. A lot of Jewish fellows go to that one, I'm sure. So Tom Gully wears the class ring, lets you know he's a Mr. Intelligence, was buying his way on the radio, and I cannot find evidence anywhere that he was ever on the radio in any legitimate capacity where he was paid, because let me make this clear. Tom Bailey, the guy who was paying to be on the radio, he never paid Tom Gully. Tom Gully left a 6-figure job to make no money. Mr. Intelligence. Now, I told you we're not the first people to come across Tom. In fact, there's an entire blog that used to be dedicated to Tom called Tom G. Foolery, and it's filled with amazing articles about Tom Gully. It didn't take long, now did it, says this article, and then it just mocks him mercilessly from like moment to moment from his appearance on someone else's podcast or internet radio show. There's one on here calling him a racist, the waggle factor. Oh, Tom Gully in offense of gay marriage. This is an interesting one. In offense of gay marriage. Now, when we called into Tom Gully's show, he would often use any little untoward words we might use. You know, the stuff that the networks don't like. I've got the network execs here, so I know all about this. The networks don't like it when you use certain terms, so he would use that, and so we don't like that stuff around here. We're above that. You know, I mean, it's just so childish, so pet. It's just pathetic. Well, here, this blog calls out Tom for saying, what did he say? Let me try to find. Unless my specific and unique personal genitalia is involved, I don't give a flying crap about gay marriage. Hey, you want to take a cheese grater to your private parts? Have at it. Enjoy. Knock yourself out. Won't affect my schlong one tiny bit. So Tom seems to think that the same thing as being gay is also grating off your genitals. Well, you know, actually, now that I think about it, you know, that was 2012. Here in 2021, he's almost right. I mean, I know a few people. So if that doesn't do it for you, though, here's Tom saying this. This is interesting.
On my page whatsoever that it's doing it.
Yeah.
So here's Tom. I just found this right before the show on some other guy's show, okay?
It's dysfunctional quarantine #1. Carl Haupt has already commented. It says, you are live. Then he says, hi, fags. Carl, that's high praise indeed.
Yeah.
That's high praise.
From the king fag.
From the Paul Lynn school of hiding his sexuality.
So he immediately says the F slur and then equates that to television treasure Paul Lynn, a.k.a. Brandon Marshall. I don't like that kind of talk, Tom. I feel like there's going to be some skeletons in your closet, and the guys here know I can sniff out bones like no other. So I want to point out the guy he was on there with, just to equate this a little bit more to our former fake radio goons, that guy is a common call-in, like he's a frequent caller to, you guessed it, the Opie and Anthony show. Tom Gully trying to get a little of the fake radio guy Owen A heat on him, that clout. He's chasing it. It's pathetic. But nothing's more pathetic than this. When that article I read to you came out about Tom failing at his life, failing at his job, he went to a radio forum and he posted this, okay? And by the way, we're about to get into an incredible Tom Gully clip. It's going to change your life. Now, this forum post, it says, guess the rumors were true about the Sports Fan 990. That was that network they were talking about in the article. They said, wow, nice guy, Tom. This so-called human. I mean, damn. I mean, God. What a complete and total tool. Now, they're talking about the other Tom, but our Tom chimes in under the name One Letterman. He says, oh, the stories I could tell. I mean, I did tell. You should hear what was left out of the article. I'll fess up. I'm the moron. The only time I've ever seen him self-deprecate at all. I'm the moron. And he's having to do that because this is a parade of people who are actually in the radio industry making fun of him. So he's coming here hat in hand. And by the way, he's looking for a job. I'm the moron who left a job as a senior creative on a $150 million account in advertising to get back into broadcasting, to get back into it. I'd won the first David Letterman scholarship in college. So he's giving his resume here. He's not obviously giving his resume here, but he's giving his resume here. He's hoping somebody will put him on air because now he's got no job, no radio, no fake radio, and no prospects. It's pathetic. He says, I figured I could always get back into talk radio, then the scourge of deregulation. So I jumped at a chance to move back to Dallas and work in sports talk. It's really what another thing I've noticed with these guys, they move around a lot. Mersh did it too. He's lived in a bunch of places. This dude's lived all over the country. They'll go anywhere where they might finally get that bite, that hook on the line. So I jumped at the chance to move back, blah, blah, blah. Maybe later today, I'll post a list of things not in the article that will really shock some people. He's actually doing a radio teaser in a forum post. I mean, this man, he knows radio. But I'd really like some advice. I have freelance advertising gigs that more than pay the bills, but I want back in radio. Do I leave the city I think is the greatest in the world? And I've lived in Chicago, Indiana, Atlanta, Los Angeles, Toronto, New York City, and St. Louis to get a gig? Or do I gut it out here where there are dozens of people with way more experience, skins on the wall, and contacts that I'll have in another 5 years? He wants these people to tell him what to do, but in reality, he wants one of them to go, wow, Tom, I heard you on the radio. I think you're great. Welcome to the team. You've got the 4 to 6 p.m. slot here at KRQ 010506OWR2. The fact you mentioned legal, blah, blah, blah. Now I know somebody else in this thing makes fun of him. They just say he was terrible. They call him talentless. And this is somebody who actually lived there. They heard him. They're not just saying that. This is what makes this all so hilarious, so delicious, so funny, is I found another post on this forum. Same forum. Let me see if I can find the dates here. This is, so the one I just read you is November 16th, 2007. Yes, this is old stuff. But before that, in September 25th, 2007, I found some posts where they were talking about who the best radio people in the Muncie, Indiana area were supposed to be. And a fella here with a very odd name left this post. And this is how I found it. It says, the KZ 105 staff, you're dead on. There's a few to throw in there. Stan Atkins. So he's talking about who are the good ones. Who are the good people at whatever this radio market is. Here's a few to throw in there. Stan Atkins, Randy Tanner, EQ Kimball, Helen, can't remember her last name, doing news. Also, Dr. Tom Gully on weekends. And then he throws in a list of other names. But isn't that funny? He sneaks in a Tom Gully after an also. Why an also in the middle of a list? You were listing names, and then it's an also Tom Gully in the middle of the list. Well, because this was made by, you guessed it, Tom Gully himself under a fake account. And that fake account's name is Gumpy Jumptooth. Gumpy Jump Tooth. Now, I ain't never heard a name stranger than Gumpy Jump Tooth. And to them audio people out there who can't see Tom, let me explain to you the Gumpy Jump Teeth going on inside this man's mouth. And I get it, the internet. Am I really one to talk, fake radio and teeth and stuff? I mean, listen, I don't give a shit about crooked teeth. I don't even give a shit about, like, yellow teeth or even if they're kind of bad teeth. Tom's teeth can only be described as Gumpy Jump Teeth. I don't know what this phrase means, but Tom came up with it. Tom's teeth look wooden. They look like a George Washington original. You know, he chopped down the cherry tree, he plopped one out and gave it to Tom. Tom's teeth look like weathered old journeymen they're at the end of the line. They've acquired all of their abilities, and yet they're too broken down to possibly use those skills anymore, you know? His teeth are nomadic. They're moving around in his mouth, creating a sort of chaotic traversal along his gum line. At some points, his teeth are here. At other points, they're there. They move about in his head freely and independently. They have their own autonomy. They stick out like a sore tooth. One of his teeth is so long, it could be the fingernail to Andre the Giant. His teeth are also, and this is the strangest part, and again, I'm describing them for the audio people out there. The video people, you've seen them. You know what I'm saying is true. His teeth are, and I'm not lying about this, 2-dimensional. You could, and you can. I've seen somebody do this, actually. It's Tom, on one of his videos, he had a guest over, and they went up to him. They poked his tooth. It just went back, and it moved like a doggy door, you know? It just kind of fluttered there. These teeth are wild, man. They're gumpy. They're jumping. They're teeth. How do I know this is Tom? How do I know this is Tom faking it until he doesn't ever make it? Sneaking his own name into a list of good people in Muncie radio? Because Tom's YouTube channel is, and I couldn't believe this when we saw this, youtube.com/Gumpy Jump Tooth. Now, why on earth? He doesn't use that name in any branding or anything anywhere else. On YouTube, he's the Tom Gully Show otherwise. You know, that's just the URL name, Gumpy Jump Tooth. It's the Tom Gully Show every episode. On Facebook, it's the Tom Gully Show. On his Twitter, he's at Atomic Palooka. By the way, follow all of these things. YouTube, though. YouTube.com/Gumpy Jump Tooth. Now, you might be sitting there going, Jesse, what's the deal with this whole Dr. Tom Gully? I actually had to ask Tom. I said to him, are you a dentist? Did you buy the time on air to try to get more patients into your clinic or something? Are you an actual doctor? Nope. No, he just thought it sounded good. He lied about being a doctor while doing, and this is another thing you might not realize, if you're a weekend guy on the radio, that's fake too. They don't pay you. You do that for free. Now, it's not you pay to be in there, but you do it for free in the hopes that they put you on drive time or you get moved up to the big leagues. This is real, especially in a tiny little market like Muncie. That's what was going on, and Tom thought, oh, I know, I'll Dr. Demento my way into the big boy's chair. They'll see how intelligent I am. They'll think I'm a doctor. Tom lies about being a doctor to seem more intelligent because you can't fix stupid. I didn't make this up. This is all Tom's own doing, and Tom's a journeyman himself. It's not just his teeth that have been I've heard, you know, Tom, you would think he's a good singer if you listen quietly in the middle of the night when his head hits the pillow. It sounds like he's singing. It's really just his teeth, and they're going, I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere. I've been everywhere. His teeth are journeyman. He's a journeyman. He's been all over. He's done everything. One of the jobs he keeps telling us he does, and by the way, when I bought his show out from under him and started putting it in the pizza fund, he was very perturbed by this, which I can understand. New management. Hey, everybody thinks they got a shitty boss, like the article said. I get it. I'm not going to, begrudge him for this. But he thought he could legally wrangle me out of this. He thought he knew something about fair use and about copyrights. And I attempted to take him to school on this because, again, I tried to help the goons. But no, Mr. Intelligence Tom, Dr. Gully, knows everything. He knows everything there is about copyright. And the way he knows that is because he used to work for Cartoon Network. The children's programming. He used to work for Cartoon Network. And he keeps saying this. He keeps saying he had some sort of high-powered, big-paying job over at Cartoon Network. And I keep thinking, well, what did you do? And he wouldn't really answer it. And when was that? And for how long? And did you do, did you work on one of the cartoons? I used to watch Cartoon Network as a kid. Have I seen something? Were you part of Adult Swim? That would be cool. Did you live in Georgia? How did this work, Tom? Well, I'll tell you, because I found it, and it's from Tom's own words. He probably doesn't remember that he put this, but here is a Cartoon Network page of employees, and it says that he worked there in 1998 for 5 months. You can't fix stupid. "5 months he worked at Cartoon Network. And to this day, at 58 years old, this was 1998, he worked there. To this day, he's still using that like it means anything on his That would be like me talking about working at GameStop. Actually, I know a thing or two about video games. In 2009, I worked at GameStop for a few months, so I think I know what's going on the Xbox 360. What's that? They've had 2 more Xboxes since? I'm sorry, I had no idea. This is Tom's life. Tom's life is a series of L's that he covers up with paper-thin lies, and when you question him on any of it, his go-to is to hang up the phone, ban you, block you, and tell you his show is live, even though it's not. And we all know it's not. We all know his show isn't live. He doesn't know how to make his show live. The only person that can make his show live is me, Jesse, from Pod Awful. Now, despite all of this, we love Tom. And in fact, I found this on Reddit, an entire subreddit dedicated to the Tom Gully Show. Let's take a look at this. It's r/the Tom Gully Show. So just like Mersh, he's got his own subreddit, and it's full of people. I've never posted in there myself. People are even making fan art of Tom Gully. Look at this. Some little kid drew an image of Tom Gully playing guitar. It's Gully Gully Island, heaven on earth. It says, "You rock, Tom Gully." And there's ladies, big-breasted ladies, showing their tatas to Tom Gully. There's a little lady looking up at his wiener there. This is obviously what a child would think, is cool to a man. And there's Tom's, it's Tom because he's got the classic Tom teeth. He's got a tattoo of a heart that says Tom on it, which is maybe the most Tom thing I've ever Tommed in my Tom. He's got a guitar strap that says Tom. He's wearing a shirt that says "Can't Fix Stupid." A beautiful drawing, truly amazing. I love seeing stuff like this. The Tom heads, whatever you want to call them, the Tom heads, the Gully heads, the Gullarinos. This isn't good. Well, here's Tom with the Westboro Baptist Church. We'll skip that one. I don't know where that one came from. Here he is. As Jeff Foxworthy. If you can read this, you might be a Gullarino. I know that. Here he is with ham hands. He's been talking. It says "I hate trans" on his forehead. That's no good. Well, anyway, he's been talking a lot about ham hands. Ooh, here's a very handsome picture. A younger picture, I think. This is actually an older picture of Tom. I know you've never heard of such a thing. Somehow someone found an older photo of Tom, older than he is now. An image from Tom's high school yearbook of him calling the girls' volleyball game. It says, and as you can see, his teeth are desperately trying to escape the gravity of his mouth. Wait, what does this say? Tom looking like he's ready to suck a new sour sack of stinky ball. Just kidding. I'm the biggest gully head. Lots of love, Tom. Morty Vicker is a brainless suck up on a power trip. Okay. Oh, this is a good one. It says font reveal incoming. I haven't actually touched on this yet. I should touch on this a little bit. We are obsessed with Tom Gully's logo. Okay. He's got, let me see if any of these photos have his logo in it. Why is it not showing them? All right. Here's the closest one I can find. You see on the clock right there, that logo for his show, the Tom Gully Show. It'll probably be in the thumbnail to this episode or something. We have desperately been trying. I have spent man hours, and I mean man, so many man hours. I probably now over 12 hours I've spent trying to find this fucking font, and I can't find it anywhere. So we very kindly asked Tom, and I mean that in the most innocent, serious way possible. We asked Tom, what font do you use for your show? And he told us he was going to reveal it. And then he's been nothing but an asshole about it ever since. He claimed it was Comic Sans and it was heavily modified. I know fonts, okay? I don't mean to get into font chat here, but I know a Benguiat from a typodermic, okay? Thank you, by the way, to the font heads out there. You know what I'm talking about. And yes, an Ed interlock is very similar to several of the typodermic fonts, but let's not get started on that. I mean, the guy's got to make a living. So anyway, Tom won't tell us this font. I need to know the font. Tell me what the font is, Tom, or you're fired. You're fired from your fake radio job. Trust me on that. I'll find out. We are so close. We are so close. There's so many fonts that look like it. And don't come to me and go, I think it's it. You better be 100%. If you show up in Discord, podawful.com/Discord, if you show up in the Discord and you come to me with this bullshit like you've got the font and it's not the right font, how many people have come to me going, it's this one? No, it's not. It's not the Bewitched font. It's not the Brady. You think I didn't think of that? You think I didn't look at the I Dream of Genie font? What am I, new?
We're live Sunday, Wednesday, and Friday,
8 p.m. Eastern.
8 p.m. Eastern
At podawful.tv.
At podawful.tv.
We've got some more beautiful Tom Gully fan art here. As you can see, another child has drawn this on notebook paper. They even drew the Tom Gully logo. They've got the, again, perfectly accurate teeth, which have moved around in his mouth. They're sort of marching around like soldiers. They kind of move against each other. They're like two lines of ants, sort of intersecting one another. They got the perfect chin going on there. The ball state. I mean, these kids, I don't know why so many kids are into Tom. Kids love Tom Gully for some reason. Here's another piece of fan art. A little hard to see there, but he's driving a Tom Gully Show car. Looks just like him. Says, stop if you rock. And as you can see, he has stopped there. Some beautiful fan art. I think there's another one here. What's this one? Oh, look at that. You can't fix stupid. That's photorealistic. I think an adult made that one. An adult must have made that one. But the kids love Gully. They can't get enough of Gully. They're the biggest Gullerinos I know. Except for one specific set of kids. This is where things start to turn, okay? This is our moment in the show where things get the most pod awful things can get. Like I said, We're not the first people to interact with Tom. We're not the first people to troll him. Not the first people to prank him. We're not the first people to bully him or mess with him. And he doesn't like bullies. He hates bullies. There's a reason he hates bullies. You see, in high school, Tom was bullied heavily in one of the worst ways you can be bullied. There's just one problem. He was not the one in high school at the time. Let's take a look at this article. This is from the, what does that fucking say? I can't even read it. Sorry, my dark mode is fucking this up. I don't know. It's from some news website. And it's got a picture saying, I'm angry on a laptop. So they're basically calling Tom mad at the internet. And here's the article. It is without... Okay, hang on. I love it when this won't let me zoom in properly. It is not without reservation that I tell you about Tom Gully and his cyber brawl with Central Bucks East students and alumni. Central Bucks East is a high school. I believe it's in Pennsylvania. Reservation because I don't like the man's style. He's a fight fire with fire kind of guy. And this situation needs an extinguisher, not another flamethrower. Gully is a Texas sports and talk radio personality, according to him, who got his start in Indiana, where he graduated from Ball State. Along the way, he worked some in advertising and marketing, won some awards, according to his resume. That wasn't me adding that one in. That's the actual article. He's back in Indiana, temporarily dealing with a personal matter. I would kill to know what that personal matter. When a guy says something like that, something very embarrassing is going on. Oh yeah, it's this article, which leaves him time, he said, to write the voluminous, hate-filled commentary concerning some Bucks County kids and how they're parented. He's also critical of the top brass at Central Bucks East. He first made contact with CB East kids. Let me read that line again. He first made contact with CB East kids in February after he commented favorably online about teacher Natalie Monroe, who was suspended after blogging her frustration with students in very colorful terms. Gully learned about her on the national news. Right on, Gully wrote on a Facebook fan page. Students took issue, and the exchange between Gully and the kids ignited. It has lasted months. Now, this was years ago, so let me update this article. It has, in fact, lasted years. You can't fix stupid. He bullies kids online? Oh, yeah. And the kids bully him back even harder. I think these kids are grown up now. These are adults. They rule. Wait until you hear. This is going to be the most embarrassing thing you've ever heard. The war of words flares, then smolders, flares, smolders. Someone needs to put it out. Little turds, and they're quoting him, is how Gully describes the kids today. Asleep at the wheel, he said of their parents, and Principal Abe Lukabow, just passing the buck. What especially steams Gully is that kids called him a pedophile online more than 40 times. He saved screenshots of those Facebook postings because he wants each kid to be held accountable. You know, I'm gonna pause reading this here. In fact, I might have gone the wrong direction with this because I've actually got audio of Gully talking about this. This is from an episode of his show from 2016 called Stop Internet Bullying. One of my favorite topics. Hashtag Bully Gully. I love it. Hashtag Bully Gully. Is this live? I'm going to play for you just a little bit of the beginning because he brings on a guest named Lisa Steindorf, and she's some sort of expert in child bullying.
Here's a few exciting scenes from tonight's episode of The Tom Gully Show. Lisa Carlone Steindorf has been cultivating educational, personal, and professional development internationally for over 15 years. She's an expert in parenting methodologies, communication strategies,
I want you to hear the
conflict
tone
management
change
systems, peace education, and intercultural relations. So she's obviously going to be of great help on this show. She holds professional certifications as a mediator, a group facilitator, and trainer, as a person-centered coach and mentor, as well as a degree in business management. Lisa is a member of the National Association of Certified Mediators and of the International Coach Federation. Her system of training, Core Success for Schools, is accredited by the State Department of Education for the German National Schools System of Continuing Education and Professional Development Program. She's also a language teacher, both English and German.
Okay, so that gives you an idea who she is. Now let's listen to him talk to her about bullying.
A different experience for them. So you're removing really a proponent of stopping the bullying in the cyber format that you would probably have accessible in the classroom.
Due to some violent content, parental discretion is advised.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. I forgot. He's a fake radio guy. So here's all your fake radio dial noises.
It's time, America. Mr. and Mrs. North and South American, all the ships at sea, let's go to press.
So sit back. Every one of these fucking shows. Let me skip ahead.
She's going to tell us how you can identify if someone is being bullied, what to do about it, and how you can keep from being bullied or from being a bully. Check out her website, coresuccess.com, to learn even more.
This is going to be so pathetic.
Learn more you will when you hear the interpersonal expertise of author, speaker, and mentor Lisa Carlone Steindorf tonight on The Tom Gully Show.
Jesus Christ. I thought I did long intros. Okay, let me skip more. Jesus.
Mediators and of the International Coach Federation. Her system of training, Core Success for Schools.
It's like the fifth time I've heard about it, and we've been skipping around.
Of Education for the German National Schools System of Continuing Education and Professional Development Program.
He's doing two intros.
She's also a language teacher, both English and German.
Professional radio
and a German
man.
interpreter and translator. Therefore, I will not be using any of my horrible German, and I will be paying attention to my almost equally as bad English. You can go to coresuccess.com to learn more about Lisa and her program. So she's got a book here out, Connected Parent, Empowered Child, 5 Learning Keys to Raising Happy, Confident, Responsible Kids. Welcome to the program, Lisa Carlone Steindorf.
Thank you, Tom. Nice to be here.
No, thank you. You did all the work. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been
Happy to be here.
able to read all that. So some kids sit at home and they want to be pro baseball players, and some kids want to be, movie stars or singers. What made you get interested in the field of sort of educational professional development? What made you say, this is something I really want to get into? Because you're obviously...
All right, so this gives you an idea. He's just very calmly interviewing her. It's just a normal interview. Let's skip ahead a little bit more, hear their interaction a bit.
Bullying has
talking about bullying
turned in so incredibly social and so incredibly organized and group participated in. Is that a differentiating factor between, I don't know, old bullying and new cyber bullying?
Mm-hmm. That's an excellent. There isn't a very large difference between the two, and it's good that you bring that up. It's not so much that it has. Well, let me put it this way: in the old days, if you will, in the school atmosphere, where it's person to person, you have 3 parties. You have the person who's doing the bullying, you have the person who's being bullied, and then you have the bystanders, people that are observing this taking place. And usually you do have bystanders. Teachers usually are not aware of it, or adults are not, because people who bully are smart, and kids are ashamed to share that they're being bullied because there's a lot of shame involved in that. And the bystanders can make a huge difference in whether bullying continues or whether...
So she says there's a lot of shame in being bullied.
It's stopped. What you have...
I'm telling you, what you're about to hear is so psycho. If you've been like iffy on Tom Gully, please give it a second, okay? I ever let you down with the build up?
Now with cyberbullying is that
is this live? By
removes the personal interaction, which drops the fear level. So if you're sitting, for example, in a classroom and somebody's being pushed around, at some point, usually kids will see this to a certain level, and then they'll say, wait, that's just not okay. And they'll say something, they'll step in, they'll call a teacher, they'll try and take action. If something is happening in a social format, like on Facebook, where people
like on Facebook, for instance,
can see this, hundreds of people can see this going on, there's really not the need or the desire to step in, or if they do step in, there's the thought of, oh, there are now hundreds of people that are going to hear me saying this. How stupid am I going to look? How am I going to be affected by this? So you're introducing an element.
I love these people who have made their whole thing like, how do we stop It's a natural thing. It's like trying to stop, puberty. Well, I guess they try to do that now too. Never mind.
For the bystander, for the person who could make a difference for the person.
Part of growing up. And then it's not a part of adulthood. There should not be adults talking to other adults about bullying unless it's about kids. Now, the issue here is this lady is talking to Tom about kids being bullied. But what she doesn't know, because Tom hasn't told her, is Tom is talking to her about him being bullied by children.
Being bullied. And it's just a different experience for them. So you're removing really a proponent of stopping the bullying in the cyber format that you would probably have accessible in the classroom.
Bullying is kind of a gray area, especially the cyberbullying. The laws haven't caught up.
Listen to
Schools
this.
don't really know how to deal with it, even though
it's essential
bullying
to
might
grow.
Start at school, and it might be a bunch of kids from the same school. If they don't do it on school grounds, the school's not anxious to get involved. What do you think can be done to cut down on the cyberbullying?
Well, I think there are a couple things.
Okay, so you hear this. This is a very calm, very even. If you tuned into this, you'd go, oh, it's just one of those shows. It's one of those shows where a guy sits there, he just finds any random person that'll talk to him about any topic that he thinks might get some clicks on it. And, there's 100 podcasts like this, right? Until the guest leaves. Something so psycho happens. I don't know how to set this up. I just needed you to hear the night and day difference. This is the exact same podcast. I'm just scrubbing ahead a few minutes later after he's dismissed his guest. And we're going to listen to the rest of this full thing because it is incredible.
Look like or what they're wearing, but they are good just because if they got that, they'd have no reason to cyberbully and hurt anybody else. Be a much better world.
I agree with you. God, what a great answer. Are you interested in telling people how they can get your book?
Absolutely. So you can go onto my website, coresuccess.com.
Who cares?
Look like or what
people how they can get your book.
And Google Connected Parent.
Tom Gully Show.
Shazam.
Just send an email to Tom at
Watch
thetomgullyshow.com.
this. Beep, 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 beep. Oh, it's Chef John. Food Wishes. And today, I'm going to show you how to make a tortellini. Hi there, Chef John here. What is the point of this? It's not a radio show. You're just wasting people's time with this. Just go to the next part, Tom. Fake radio, guys. You gotta fake it. You gotta feel like, hey, they could tune in any time. Maybe they want to hear the stock music, the public domain stock music on every website. All right, here he comes.
We'd like to thank the brilliant Lisa Carlone Steindorf for appearing on the show. You can get her book and learn
very nice.
all about all things Lisa Carlone Steindorf.
Wow, we really
at her
learned a lot.
website, coresuccess.com.
She taught us a lot about how to handle bullies, and what to do,
happier
and that
you'll
they
be.
feel
Trust
shame
me.
too,
Folks, we'd really
and that
appreciate it if you
bullies
share this
need
on
help
your various
too.
Facebook pages.
That's what she
Trying to
taught him.
spread the word
Bullies
means
need
trying to
help
spread our little
too.
show here. We continue to get a lot of email about this part of the show. This is our second straight German-speaking guest, and I was smart about it. I didn't speak.
I love that too. We get a lot of email about this show. No, you don't. No, you don't. I might be the only person who has ever listened to this.
The German this time. No, I didn't do that because that would have been embarrassing, like it was the last time. Although I can name all the starting lineup of the 1974 World Cup champion West German national.
And if ever he feels like he might look stupid, he then has to cover it up with, but I do know this. Who cares, Tom? Who cares? Get to the point.
For what it's worth, I'm going to take a sidetrack here that has to do with cyber harassment.
Does he have echo on, by the way? There's a lot of echo.
I've got a really great cyber harassment story that we're going to do a whole episode on.
Okay.
But I've never really talked about this on the show before. And I'm going to talk about it now since we had Lisa Carlone Steindorf on the program. And that is back in...
now, he did not talk about this at all with her. I listened to this whole thing. She just taught him about bullies and how to stop bullying and that bullies need love too. That's what she taught him. He kept his mouth shut on this. And then as soon as she's gone...
About 5 years ago, soon to be 6, I was the victim of a intense cyber harassment online by some kids from Central Bucks East High School in Pennsylvania.
You don't admit that! You're a grown man! You don't tell people kids got ya. They won. That means they won. If you're mad on the internet because of kids making fun of you, they won. You can say all the, it was borings and reply with as many gifs as you want. They won. I mean, how stupid. This is a childless, wifeless, 58-year-old. This is a 50-year-old man. I mean, whenever this happened, he was like 50 years old or something. He was at least 50 years old. Okay? Imagine your dad going into his basement with his toy trains and looking at them and going, the kids on the playground made fun of me again today.
And I had called out that school because one of their teachers had blogged that the kids there were vulgar and entitled and disrespectful and a lot of other negative things. And I posted a few things in support of that teacher who posted...
This is the reason trolls exist. 100%.
Anonymously, by the way. And some kids at school found out about it, raised a big stink. The school system was not happy about it and tried to fire her, but they found out that they couldn't. And it's a big, long story. The woman's name was Natalie Monroe.
Stop posting your L's online. You have the choice. You have the choice to just not say anything. You can do that. You cannot respond to stuff that upsets you on the internet. Now, my suggestion would be do what I do. Just don't be upset about it. But you have the ability to not respond. You have the ability to say nothing. Instead, you basically told the internet that kids beat you up.
Munroe. And I had a kid call me a child molester, a pedophile, by my name.
He's paranormal!
Several places online. And I told him, look, you can say all sorts of stuff about me. I think it's no secret to...
Kids love Tom Gully. They're making art of him. Kids have a natural attraction toward Tom Gully. It's not the other. I'm not saying it's the other way around. Okay? Let me be clear. I am not saying anything about Mr. Gully's proclivities. But kids are drawn to him. I think that's why these kids bullied him. You know, a lot of times, you ever hear about this? A little boy's in love with a little girl. He pulls her pigtails. You know, he bullies her a little bit. It's a natural reaction. They don't know what their hormones are raging. They don't know what to do with those feelings. So it's really the kid's fault.
Anybody that has been following the show, I've been on very large radio stations in very large markets talking about sports and various other subjects for decades now. And I take all sorts of criticism and harassment. I mean, believe me, if I say Tony Romo didn't check down to the proper receiver, I get 1,000 emails telling me.
No, you don't. No, you don't. That's a lie. That's a lie. Show me the email. Show me the email. You would still have the email. Show me the emails. I want to see the emails posted. I want to see proof of the emails.
I mean, what a jerk I am.
Lock her up. This is a hashtag lock her up moment. We need to see the emails. WikiLeaks.
And you look funny. Your teeth are messed up. Whatever.
So kids are even telling him about his journeyman's teeth.
It rolls right off my back. But that one thing you don't get to do. And I warn these.
Why? Why that one thing? I mean, being called a pedo online is that's as common as being called Hitler online. It's almost mean unless somebody produces actual evidence that backs it up, it's meaningless. You might as well be upset you got called Hitler. You might as well be going around and interviewing. You know what? Maybe that's why he brought her on the show, because she spoke German as well. He had a backup plan just in case he got called Hitler. He could also ask her about that. So what exactly was the deal with Schindler's List?
These kids, in fact, I called the kid's house, told him I was gonna, kept it up. And the parent that I spoke to, the father.
You call me Hitler online. That's where I draw the line. Okay, mister? You can call me anything. You can call me a cock-sucking, cum-guzzling, toe-tapping, ear rapist. You could say I rape old women in the ear. You could say I break into a nursing home at night, climb through the window wearing a balaclava, and sneak going boop, 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 until I get to the foot of the bed, slither my way up the comforter and into the old woman's ear, remove her hearing aid, her miracle ear, and stick my needle-like dick inside her ear. You could say that to my family. You could send them a photo that you made in Photoshop, in InDesign. You could send them what looks to be an actual deep fake where it looks 100% real of me molesting an elderly woman's ear. And that would be fine. But when you call me Hitler, that's where I draw the line.
Said he'd take care of it. But the mother chose to get together. Her name was Christine DeMarco. Kid's name was Michael DeMarco. And
you could say that I have a sexual fetish for sniffing retarded people's butts. You could say that. I don't care. Listen, if you want to say I eat a retarded guy's dookie to get off, if you want to say the only way that my peen gets concrete is when I go to a special ed class and for adults, an adult special ed class, and I stick my head into their diapers, teeth first, and start gnashing, you could say that all day. You could tell the president of the United States, the black sock on my hand, you could tell him that I have personally held down a retarded person by their neck while rubbing peanut butter all over their face so they don't pay attention. So they're sitting there licking it off as I eat the shriveled dookies from their asshole. You could say that. I wouldn't even bat a toothlash.
They chose to get together.
But the second you call me a dummy on the internet
and get about 50 kids at first to continue this all over the internet. They formed, 4 or 5 hate pages. You can go to therulesofstupid.blogspot.com.
Oh, by the way, his show used to be called The Rules of Stupid because he's a Mr. Intelligence and you can't fix stupid.
And see about it, because I'm telling these kids, look, I'm screenshotting everything you do. You're going to go to college. You're going to want a job someday, and I'll be waiting, because you do not get away with calling me that for laughs.
That is the way you get away with it, Tom. If you do it for laughs. You know? Like, if they said, yeah, he's a pedophile, and then the police were like, wait, is he really? And they're like, no, I was just saying that. That's the way you get away with it. People get called a pedophile. It's the internet. It's the internet. You're going to get called the worst thing a person can think of at the time. And if they don't know anything about you or they've seen your face, then you're going to get called a pedophile. I mean, think about it. Listen, I don't like this. I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying this is a good thing, but you're driving and you get cut off by another car and it's close, man. I mean, they almost hit you and you're like, what the and you look over and you see who's driving and it's a black guy. All I'm saying is you might be the least racist person on earth, but that the second you get cut off on the internet and you see it's a black guy, your index finger is going to be hitting that end. Okay, now maybe you don't type it out all the way. Maybe you catch yourself. You get to the eye, you go, you know what, I thought better of this, backspace, backspace. But your mind went there. Hitler, for a lot of people, it's the worst thing they can think of is Hitler. They don't know anything about you. They don't have a better insult for it. If they knew, listen, you get called Hitler until they know you're Italian, and then you get called a guinea or a wop. It's that simple. You know, you get cut off in traffic by the Asian lady. Oh, I really don't even have to say anything about that one. If you're a dad, you just go, of course. Of course. Who didn't see that one? But you know what's going on. You know what I mean by this. You see an old white guy and who looks like Tom. And he's talking to kids. You know, he's on the Facebook page and having an argument with the kids. What are they going to call you, Tom? What are they going to call you? What you should have done is said, I'll have you know I'm a fake radio guy. And then they could call you, I don't know, something else like Soupy Sales.
Recently, somebody else has been trying to do that for laughs. And let's just say he who laughs last laughs best. But these kids kept it up.
It's the hardest, but okay.
Kept it up. And you can read about everything that happened there. They had things sent to my home or what they thought was my home. They harassed people.
Oops, that was a slip. I recognize that. That's a goon slippage where he said they had things sent to my home. He went, shit, I just revealed that that's actually my address and they got it right. Let me backtrack. And then he goes, I mean my former address, actually. And then he panically darts his eyes back and forth for 14 minutes.
People who actually just had the same name as me. Believe it or not, there's a bunch of Tom Gullys in the United States, and there's several here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
There's no way. There's only one Tom Gully in any state at a time. Okay? I'm pretty sure if two Gullys met, it would be like a Hancock situation.
And this went on and on and on and on and on. And it you know, they harassed my family. They did all sorts of things. You know, if you've got something.
Sure they did.
That's even remotely true, that's great. But this one thing, that one name, you don't get to call me.
Well, they didn't know the rules ahead of time. Did you post the rules ahead of time? Here's what you need to do, Tom. You got a Facebook page. I've seen it. Tom Gully. I think it's like tom.gully1 or something, facebook.com. Anyway, you can find him. Tom Gully on Facebook. Here's what you got to do then. You go to your Facebook page and your cover image, you put the rules for interacting with you on the internet. Hey, stupids. Since I can't fix you, here's the rules ahead of time. And you go, rule number 1. I'm sorry. You're just not allowed to call me a pedophile. And then for the rest of the rules, you suspiciously have nothing. That's your only rule, apparently. So, again, they're going to look at that and go, that's weird. How often is he getting called a pedophile that this is a problem? But you put that up there, and then we're good to go. They didn't know that you can't. You're playing Calvin ball at this point. They're having to play catch up.
I'm sorry. Not gonna happen. Not in this universe.
It happened, and he's on the verge of tears. Are you hearing it? He's about to cry, and you can hear the you know what it is? It's nervous nerd anger. He's getting that nerd adrenaline building up, and you've all felt it. Listen, this is something we've all experienced one time or another, unless you are Rufio Phoenix, the most Chad of Chads. Then you have had that moment where you were like, oh, I'm so mad. And then you instead, all of a sudden, you don't know what happened. Like a synapse fires the wrong way. This happens to girls every day. Every day a girl has like one wrong thought and she just bursts into tears and she didn't even mean to. I saw a whole Reddit post where it was just a bunch of girls commiserating with each other. They had no idea they're all doing this. Like, you've never met another girl? What are you talking about? You guys are always in a walk-in freezer crying. Have you ever worked at a job with another girl? I can't tell you how many times I walk into a walk-in freezer. A girl's in there shivering, crying, also smoking. I don't know why that's allowed in a walk-in freezer. I guess, the cold takes care of it. And I go, Lee, what's wrong? And she's like, it's wrong. You called me fat. And I go, whatever, fucking Tubbo. And I close the door and lock her in there. We never hear from Lee again. She freezes. Anyway, this is a thing. Nerd adrenaline. It builds up. The lactic acid. I don't know. Something's going on in there. His joints are jumbling. And right now he's going. And then eventually just comes out as tears. He's got nothing. And then it's just tears. He doesn't know how to express himself. And by the way, Tom is an athlete. He was a soccer player. He's almost as tall as me. He's 6'5". I'm 6'7". He's a big guy. But he's not that kind of guy. He's not like, you put him into a situation, he gets backed into a corner. He doesn't know what to do because he relies on his smarts to get him out of something. There's no winning with smarts against a gaggle of teenagers, a murder of teenagers who are just coming at you going, pedo, pedo, ha, ugly, pedo, ha. You just lay down your sword, man. Come on. You didn't even get one hit in. So, actually, I'll have you know I went to Ball State. Ha, he's wearing his class ring. You're wearing your class ring. I'm in high school.
.com and see about it, because I'm telling these kids, look, I'm screenshotting everything you do. You're going to go to college. You're going to want a job someday.
He's threatening their lives
because you do not get away with calling me that for laughs. And recently somebody else has been trying to do that.
I went back too far. I apologize, but I'm glad we did, because keep that in mind. He's telling these kids he's going to follow them to the end of time for the one time on Facebook as children. These were children, Tom. They're kids. I know you're watching, Tom. They're kids. They make stupid mistakes. You never made a dumb mistake as a kid? Like, for instance, think you're going to be a radio man one day and then never, ever stop doing it? They're kids. Are you a pedo? If you're not, then why do you care this much? I don't think you are. I think kids love you. It's totally different.
And let's just say he who laughs last.
I'm sorry I went back so far.
But these kids kept it up, kept it up.
Forever.
And you can read about everything that happened there. They had things sent to my home, or what they thought was my home.
All right, let it keep playing.
They harassed people who actually just had the same name as me. Believe it or not, there's a bunch of Tom Gullys in the United States.
Wait. They sent packages to his house, and the people who had moved in after him happened to have the same last name as him. That is the most bullshit. Like, either he moved out of his parents' house and it's his parents still living there, or this is completely made up. I'm glad we went back now.
States, and there's several here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And this went on and on and on and on and on. And it they harassed my family. They did all sorts of things. If you've got something that's even remotely true, that's great.
But this,
Are you saying it's possible? Like, listen, if you got a Polaroid of me holding a kid under the surface of the water in the pool, trying to see what might happen, great. Bring it to the authorities. But short of that, I mean, I'm going to destroy your life. If you didn't pop out a camcorder and get me on camera molesting the entire cheerleader team at your school, then you can't call me a
one thing, that one name, you don't get to call me.
They didn't know.
I'm sorry. Not gonna happen.
Hey, listen here, mister. Hey, bucko. Listen here, bucko. I haven't eaten nothing but steak for the past 22 years.
In this universe.
He's actually about to vomit from tears.
Excuse me. And
pull it together, Gully. Come on, Gully, you've got this. Come on. You gotta make the kids feel threatened. I gotta look big. I'm a big man. They're just little kids and I'm big.
I put up a whole website about it, and believe it or not, I've actually contacted employers. Some of these kids kept it up into college. Well, college is...
So this is a years-long battle that is still going on. And when they get to college, he's like, are you sure you want these kids in your college? They called me, Dr. Gully, a pedophile.
Don't really respond well to...
I hear the kids actually call him Dr. Gully. No, it's okay, kid. I'm a doctor. I'm just joking. That's a joke.
Using your university email services. Not like this local school system did. The principal at this local high school in Pennsylvania told me he was launching an IT investigation and contacting local...
Somebody said, now this is live apparently, because somebody named The Deuce says, we pranked this guy for months. Who's we? By the way, if you were one of these kids, he mentions a name in this. I don't know if he already said it and I missed it. If you were one of these kids, or you were around at the time, you know anything about it, hit me up. Now, by the way, I'm not telling children to hit me up. These are grown adults now. Let me be clear, okay? Head your ass! So... Imagine if my response to them was this. Listen, I want to hear from you. I want to hear your side of the story. And like, did it really affect your life? Because there's two things here. You guys know this about me. I'm against deplatforming. And I believe doing these things is going after someone's, not livelihood, their life. I literally made a thing in order to stop this. I had a whole show about a way to stop this sort of thing from happening and to be more careful online to make sure unhinged retards like this don't do this sort of thing to you over jokes on the internet. The stupidest thing you can... I mean, this is a guy who considers himself a sort of comedian. To some degree, he must consider himself funny to some degree. He does little jokes here and there, and he can't take it. He can't handle the heat. It's the sickest thing, man. It's really disgusting. And there's a part of me... I hate this, obviously. The part of me that hates this because of that. There's another part of me that thinks he's lying about it. That he didn't manage to get anybody taken. So I want to know the truth. Because this might be another one of his braggadocious claims, you know? This might just be him throwing a little twinkle toes out there trying to make you think, oh, he's a big guy. Tom Gully is full of that stuff since day one of calling into the Tom Gully show. And all of this started, this whole snowball comes from 3 magic words. Is this live? And that was the phrase that prompted Tom Gully to actually immediately attempt to dox my phone number and then threaten me and tell me how he's taken down bigger people than me. By the way, I've never used a real phone number with Tom Gully, you idiot. I'm calling over and over and over again from hundreds of brand new phone numbers. And I have unlimited phone numbers. Have you not noticed that yet, Tom? Didn't stop him from trying to read out what he thought was my number on air. Great job, stupid. So I would love to talk to anybody who is actually involved with this. The parent, the kid, the employer, whoever. If you know Gully, get in my Gullerino.
Authorities, I did a request for records from that school, and they told me they had absolutely no record of that. In other words, he didn't do it. Yeah. And therefore, you can go to the rulesofstupid.blogspot.com. I contacted several universities. Penn State, the place with actual pedophiles, did nothing about this when a kid kept it up at Penn State. And I've got the Penn State police belching on the phone. And
well, obviously Penn State wouldn't do it. You're a fake pedophile. They don't even do anything about the real one.
All sorts of other things. It's actually pretty wild. New York University, however, did take it seriously. And somebody didn't get to continue going to school there for whatever reason. And a few of these...
What do you mean? Now, that's interesting too. Let's assume this is real. He says for whatever reason. Well, he would just say it was for the pedophile thing, if that's what it was. So this dude might even just be lying to people to try to get these kids killed, to try to get their livelihoods taken away from them, to try to get them out of college and all this stuff. He might just be saying like that. I once saw him plant a bomb at a mosque. So I don't know. Do you really want him there? I heard he was behind 9/11. You're in New York.
These people, I have... found out where they got their first jobs. And I will continue doing that, by the way, because these kids were really getting their jollies. Ha, 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 ha. Maybe we'll stop.
Yeah, I'm reminded. I was told that at the end of the first time we pranked him, that he would be contacting my local chapter of the NAACP. Well, Tom, I'm going to give you a little clue here as to where I live. Where I live, they don't have a chapter. Catch my drift. You know, when I get called Hitler online, I go, yes. I'm kidding. It's not real. I'm not really a racist, Tom. I just like making you feel bad. I have a feeling that if I were to say the N-word on the Tom Gully show, something I would never do, but if I were to do that no black people would ever hear it, and the only person feeling bad about it would be Tom Gully. Tom Gully is the N-word of the Tom Gully show.
If you quit criticizing our school.
Is that word okay? Now, from what I understand, the only word you can't say about him is that he's a pedophile. But are you allowed to call him a
cyber harassment? I don't dig it. I'm sorry. And if you want to cyber harass me,
you don't dig it?
Boy, you better batten down the hatches, because I will find out every real and true thing about you. And I'll just put it up on a website or do a show about it.
Like one of those websites you have that nobody looks at but me?
And unfortunately for these kids, I screenshotted all this stuff. And you can see it at the rulesofstupid.blogspot.com.
I don't think that exists anymore, by the way.
Countless examples. A few of them gave me their phone number. I called them on the phone. I recorded the phone calls.
What state did you do that from, Tom? Because some states, that's not legal to do unless you told them. Uh-oh, Tom, you're recording calls with children without consent? I don't know.
Well, guess what? Those don't sound real good when you're at your first job out of college and you're trying to teach kids.
This guy is a psycho. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I told you. I said, give it a bit. It's a slow build, man.
And I send that to your employer. Anyway, you can see all that there. And
now, again, he didn't say any of this while the lady was on the phone. Why not? Why didn't you talk to the lady about this? Why didn't you say to her, now, how do I stop these meddling kids from calling me a child molester online?
We'll continue. But
excuse me, what? What did you say? The interview did it cut out? Is it a Skype problem? I'm saying, how do I stop these teenagers from harassing me?
By the way, I'm not done with these kids by a long shot.
Clip it!
We're up to just 5 years ago. Probably seems like a long time if you're 21, 22, 23 years old.
Did I just skip
something? It ain't that long for me. Not at all. Not at all. And there's another case that just cropped up here in the last 6 months of a guy who thought he was really funny and started harassing me on Twitter along those lines, using the fact that these kids had gotten their jollies. Ha ha ha, isn't this a funny thing to call a grown man? And they could tell I wasn't happy about it, so they got their jollies out of it. Well, this guy, knowing that it's not true, decided that would be his opportunity to start calling me that or conjecting about it or do whatever he wanted to. And all I will say
what could happen to these boys
about that until the entire show, well, you will hear a 30-minute rant by this guy who has continued calling me and texting me after being told to stop and everything else. Let's just
stop calling the man who puts a phone number on screen every day to call him.
Say that gentleman will have a rude awakening the next time he applies for a job, or if he ever gets pulled over, because the local authorities where I live in the state of Texas did take it seriously. And so that's
I told mommy and daddy. I told the teacher on you. I'm friends with the police. They let me look inside their car.
pretty much all I have to say about that and cyber harassment. I will say that local municipalities, the federal government, and just about everybody else that should be taking a real strict look at this, and I'm front and center, are people like Facebook, who did nothing, Twitter, who did nothing, WordPress.
First they came for my Facebook, and they did nothing. Then they came for Twitter, and they did nothing. But when they came for my Tom Gully,
pretty much encourages this type of behavior. Most of your social media platforms do a rotten, and I mean rotten, job of cracking down on this sort of antisocial behavior.
Antisocial behavior? You mean pedophilia? What are you talking? Do any of you feel like they do a bad job cracking down on stuff? I don't know anybody who hasn't had their entire account wiped out over nothing on all of these platforms. Nothing. You can do nothing wrong, and they'll get rid of you. Tom's whining about children bullying him. You're an adult man. Get over it. Here's what you do, okay? You go to the cops. You want some real advice on how to handle a situation like this? I can do that. I can be adult about this. Go to the police, all right? Go into the police station. Not call them. Don't tie up the phone lines. Go into the police station and ask to speak to one of the detectives or an officer on duty, whoever they have available. You know, you don't want to take up too much of their time or anything, but it's important. And you say to them, listen, I'm 58 years old and I'm a complete fucking loser and retard. I'm stupid as a brick and you can't fix it. Bring this with you, by the way. And on top of all of that, the cherry on top of the Tom Gully sundae is even kids make fun of me. Officer, what can I do to stop being the miserable old cunt that I am? And if this is Texas, well, he used to live in Texas. I think he's in Utah now. So Utah, that's probably pretty similar. I don't know how they are about this sort of thing. Feels like a Texas, maybe go to the Texas guy. But hopefully, if it's a cool officer, what he'll do is he'll go, well, and he'll do that thing where he adjusts his belt. He kind of pulls it up over his belly. Well, I mean, and then he just reaches down and he unhooks his service revolver and he checks the chamber and he clears it and he hands it over to you and he says, safety's on. And then he turns around and goes, I got some paperwork to do. And he grabs something off of a desk right next to him and he starts twirling his nightstick around and he does a a very obvious, like conspicuous whistle, you know. Okay, I can't whistle apparently. And he just walks away. And then you take the gun and you start shooting all the cops. Bang, 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 bang. That's for not protecting me. They called me a pedophile.
I probably do a better job. And I hope these kids
do a better job of cleaning up social media. What are you talking about?
Are willing to live with the words they wrote just a few years ago. And I super hope this gentleman that's been pulling this nonsense.
This is a baby. I super hope. That is you are a child. You are, okay, I guess it's fine that they bullied you because you're actually younger than them mentally. You are mentally elementary school.
And you'll hear a whole show of him, dreaming.
Mentally middle. I'll give him middle. That could be a middle. You are mentally middle.
About cutting
junior high
my head off and going into great detail about it and all sorts of other stuff, indicating that he has some sort of supernatural powers.
What? No. I'm so sorry. I'm going to have to roll that back and listen to it again, which means I'm probably going to overshoot it. But if I don't hear that again, I will ask a cop for a gun and then have to do what needs to be done. Okay, let me just roll it back a little bit here.
This gentleman that's been pulling this nonsense, and you'll hear a whole show of him.
Oh, it sent me way further back. That's not where I clicked. It's screw. This player is screwy. I apologize. That's really not me. I just watched the number completely jump.
Dreaming about cutting my head off and going into great detail about it and all sorts of other stuff.
That's funny on its own. But then this next part.
Indicating that he has some sort of supernatural powers and can stare into a candle and wish people dead.
Whoever this is he's talking about, reach out to me. You are my best friend. I have been looking for you for my whole life. You are now the co-host of Pod Awful, okay? You now make money. You now make more money doing radio than Tom Gully ever has. Because I have a seat here. It's open for Elijah. Come to me. You told Tom Gully that you can magically wish him away with the power of a candle. I one time, we've talked about hacking people's houses on fire, but this is brilliant. This is great. And let me be clear about something. We dabble. We don't dabble in the paranormal here, but at Pod Awful, we dabble in the supernatural. We have a god. He's a chaos magic god. His name is Dear God, and he's right there. And Dear God makes some weird things happen. I've had ex-girlfriends bitten by rabies-filled bats. I've made a man walk off of a roof. There's so many things have happened on this show that are so inexplicable. I can't even begin to list them all, okay? I tell you what, you want to know the list? Look at our YouTube page and look at the thumbnails. They're all the crazy things. So I dabble in the supernatural. I've got powers of my own. I have preternatural abilities. I have abilities that the Jedi would not have taught you. I have access to forces unseen, to unmentionable power. I practice a dark art. And I am capable. And Tom, I need you to understand, as a guy who you attempted to dox, you failed, but you attempted to. As a guy who you have threatened, as a guy who, now knows your proclivities for trying to make people's jobs go away and hurting them, all for words on the internet. I need you to understand, I do have very, very strange powers. And they don't require a candle either. Why? I'm capable of, just by fluttering my eyes, I could actually turn you on sexually and make you desire me as another man to man. I could make you want me. And as I lure you in across state lines to my humble abode, you would come to my door and knock. I would let you in. I'd be wearing nothing but a sheer nightgown. And I'd be holding a rose, a single rose. And I would tease your nose with the rose. And I would run it down your sternum. And I would lead you up to my bedroom. And I would have the bed set. And there would be candles everywhere, but you have nothing to fear. My powers don't involve candles. And as we make sweet, sweet love, I would whisper into your ear, happy, happy, happy. And you would vanish into dust. It would be nothing. And then that was it. You would disappear off of the face of the earth. And I would fully own your show. And I would host it. And I would rename my channel The Tom Gully Show. And by the way, I could just do that now without any of the gay sex. I don't even know why I did all that.
And things of this nature. Yeah, real Fruit Loop type stuff. This
whoever that guy is awesome.
Show with Ms. Steindorf was actually recorded in August, and I have to apologize to her because at the suggestion of local law enforcement, I haven't issued any shows since that. Whoa, there's the alarm. Somebody's calling me.
It's the goon alarm. This guy's psycho.
I haven't issued any shows. And that was, as I said, at the suggestion of...
I will be trademarking the Tom Gully Show, and I will be registering that trademark along with the logo.
Local law enforcement. Well, let's just say that now they've done their due diligence and some binding things, and I have to tip my cap.
Like a spell? Some binding things. I love... Oh, man, these weird... These vague threats goons do where they don't know. He doesn't even know how law works. They've done some binding things. And I'll tell you what, here right after Christmas, we'll get right on this. It's a Christmas Day debacle.
Up to them, because the first time this happened back in 2011.
The first time? Wait, this has happened multiple times to you? How does this even happen a second time?
Nobody did anything. Nobody did anything.
Wow, a victim of the bystander effect. I can't believe you, Tom, a grown man. Nobody came rushing to your aid when those children held you down and raped you.
And these people did. And boy, did they. Somebody's got a rude awakening coming up. And it's great to live in Texas, is all I'll say about that. So at any rate, we really need to take a look at some of the practices and some of the laws that need to be changed about this, because most of this stuff happens across state lines, and nobody wants to take it seriously, and there's no teeth. There's a thing called IC3 that the federal government runs, and it's really not much of a solution. Really isn't. Even the Postal Service, when all of this stuff was getting sent to where they thought I lived, I just happened to know the person that was getting it because it was a former address of mine.
So they're related. You know them, their last name is Gully, and they live in your old house. Either you still live there and this is a lie, or that's your dad.
And anything they could order for free. Canes for the blind, Bibles.
This is next level. These kids are next level. I mean, I've had pizzas ordered to my house. It's why doxing is so stupid. It's like, it's cool and fun. Doxing is cool and fun. Remember, kids, doxing is cool and fun. I have heard of pizzas. I have never heard of somebody being sent canes for the blind. Imagine being sent that. What are they trying to say about you? They've ordered you a cane.
Name it. Pizza delivered.
Obviously, pizza. Okay, that's, Some of the kids aren't as bright. All right, not everybody can wish a man away with a candle.
The house. 4 large pizzas loaded, 4 wings loaded, 4 liters of Coke, and this poor person and the delivery driver has to be told, "No, sorry, that we didn't order that." Books, magazines. I had so many magazine subscriptions that I had to take off my name. You know, stuff's got to stop.
It's gotta stop. Take a look at this man's fucking head. I mean, seriously, zoom in. RoboCam, please. Thank you. Look at this guy. This is the face he's making while saying all of these things.
And I'm sure Ms. Steindorf and people like her might say, well, just ignore them. Nah, that doesn't always work.
That ship
They
is
don't always
sailed,
stop,
toots.
Especially in a big pack of a couple hundred kids.
He does consider them to
Or
be
if you're just
a pack.
maybe not all there like this other guy. They don't quit. They don't quit, so you have to go on the offensive. And I live in the light. I use my real name. I don't have anything to hide at all.
Thou doth protest too much. Listen, okay, you're not a, we get it. I have got nothing to hide. Nothing. Sunlight, the best disinfectant. Don't even bother looking in that closet. No, the closet door is open. See? When you walked in, the closet was already open. Thus, there is no need to look in the attic. Everything is out. We're on the up and up here, okay? We're good. Because of the nothing I've ever done. Ever.
So, at any rate, we got to do something about this. And I've often thought about having the listeners go on the offensive with me.
Oh
but as
my
you guys
God.
know,
But as you know, you don't exist. Morty Vicker, go get him! Get him, Morty!
the show's for you. It's about you. I get people all the time. Your show sucks. You're stupid.
Now that I believe he gets that. I don't believe he gets emails. I don't believe there's anybody for him to sick. He can't sick his listeners on anybody. I do believe he hears that he's stupid and his show sucks.
I don't have any talent. Guess what? The show isn't for you then. I don't care what you say. I care about the people that listen to this program. That's
us, the Gully Heads, everybody. Thank you. Thanks, Tom. We love you too.
That's it. And we run a very eclectic show here. I could do a show about comic books or any number of topics that if I really wanted
If I wanted to have a topic, if I wanted to do that instead of read Morty Vickers' comments, I mean, yeah, I could try, sure. If I wanted to try, I could, but I don't want to do that. So this show's not for you.
Ton of listeners. I'm more interested in people that are interested in eclectic, diverse, interesting things. So that's why we do the show. And so I'm pretty much bulletproof to anything anybody wants to
But you're not bullets proof, Tom.
Say about me. But you can't say that. Just the most foul abomination for laughs, for kicks, for jokes. You're not putting that on my name and my reputation. Isn't going to happen.
Not in my Black History
This
Month.
last guy thinks he's real cute, too.
Well, hang on. Let's not talk about how cute he is, Tom. I mean, they're accusing you of things
He
here.
thinks he's real cute about it. And other people didn't think so. So, at any rate. We'd appreciate it if you'd like the Tom Gully Show.
Who's we? It's called the Tom Gully Show and you're Tom Gully. Who is we?
Me, but the show on Facebook, too, if the mood strikes you. And, of course, there's always the TomGullyShow.com. That's where you can find everything about the show. By the way, we've redone the website. And
Okay, who cares? Anyway, there you go. How amazing was that? And it doesn't end there. There's way more. There is way more. We got plenty more for you tonight in the Pod After Show. I've got an entire hour and a half at least of me talking to Tom Gully that you can't find anywhere else. But before we go to that, it hit me. I was looking at all that beautiful Gullerino Gullyhead fan art, and I'm thinking about Tom's words here. And it occurs to me, maybe we should actually help Tom out. If we're going to be fans of Tom, we should be fans of Tom. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to make my own Tom Gully fan art with the help of my good friend, you know it, you love it, the Telestrator, ladies and gentlemen. The only Telestrator in the business, except no substitutes, certainly not when Royce does it. Now, I got Tom's image here on screen so I can take a look at and get it just right. I want to make sure this is just right, but I want to use mine for good, and I want you guys to do this as well. Make your own Tom Gully fan art and submit it to reddit.com/r/the Tom Gully Show. Find the Tom Gully Show on Reddit. Submit your fan art, and let's see if we can't spread the word out there about Tom and him not being a pedophile. Okay, so let's start with our Tom Gully art. First, you start with just his stupid hair. So he's got his stupid, it's just sort of a dumb cartoon character style buzz cut here. There we go. And then you kind of, I mean, it's not really a buzz cut. I don't even know how to describe it. It's a number 2 on the razor, maybe. You just do that, and you give him a big stupid head like this. Okay, and he wears his headphones, so you give him the headphones. Maybe you guys can't see that too well. Let me do this. Let me, just right now, I can see the Tom Gully picture on my screen here, and then I'll leave that for you guys to see there. Here's the drawing. Give him his headphones, all right? And, of course, I'm doing this real quick and easy here. Now, Tom's got a big thickle of a nose. He's got a big, stupid nose. And you don't really pay attention to it because he's got those teeth, but there is a big fucking dumb nose there. It's a drunk's nose, really. It's like fat. It's kind of got a bulb on the tip of it. And then he's got the glasses of a pretty cool guy. So let's get those glasses in there. All right, Morty Vicker in the chat says these glasses actually look pretty good, Tom. Thank you, Morty. You get to stay the moderator and only listener of the show. All right, and of course he's got these stupid eyebrows that are just always angry. These are the eyebrows of a guy who wants to make sure children can never live or eat again. Now, I'm going to give him kind of dead, sullen eyes, you know, the eyes of a man who has lived too stupid of a life to even comment on. And here's what you got to do with the Gully drawing. You kind of go in like you're about to give him a neck, but then you don't really. You don't really give him a chin or a neck. You just keep kind of going and make sort of an amorphous Hank Hillian kind of blob at the bottom. You can really get wiggly with it. It does not matter at all. Now, the most important thing is obviously the mouth. He has no lips to speak of. It's just a horror show to showcase his wandering teeth. And we're going to make sure we get the nice. He's got one really big one, and we got to give that one precedence. And then the others, you just kind of freestyle it. You know, these are sort of the happy trees of the Bob Ross movement here. You just do whatever you want. It's very jack-o'-lantern styled. Give him just the tiniest little hint of a chin. It can be crooked, doesn't matter. Get the neck wrinkles going on there. Get the forehead wrinkles going on. Okay, that looks like a pretty good Tom Gully. Now, in my picture of him here, he's actually wearing a Mersh style blazer. What I think I'll do is I will give him his hoodie, his Ball State hoodie. I think that's the classic Tom look, and then we'll have the drawstrings come out here. We'll give him his big man shoulders. He's a big, imposing man. Think of the kids seeing him coming to kill them, and then you just write Ball State here. You can't see all of it, obviously, but you know it's there. Ball State. Okay, perfect. And now this next part, I want to get just right. All right, you can't screw this part. Looks just like him, to be honest. Let's do a quick comparison here. Yeah, that's pretty good. I'd say that's pretty good, right? Okay, so let's do this then. Let's get this here, and now we got to do the message. And I think the best thing to do is to to do the Tom Gully style logo. We've been wanting to know what that font is forever now. So I'm going to try my best. I'm looking at his font right now. I'm going to try my best to replicate it by hand. You know, I do my best here. Obviously, it won't be perfect, but we love his font. Here we go. Tom, okay, T-O. There we go. And then the M. The M is very unique. It's got a very unique shape to it. You can't find it in any other font. Trust me, I've looked. And you kind of bring that up like that and up like that. And then there. I'd say that M is pretty good. Now we're going to run out of room if I do the Gully over to the side. So we'll do Gully down here. And the G is very specific too. It's like it almost not even got a tail on it, but it does. And then come back around like this. And then I think it comes up like that. A little hard to see on my screen. And then we've got the U and the U. You know, all of these have a tail on it. These are sort of a mid-modern style, retro style, kind of an atomic age look to them. You've seen these at bowling alleys, these fonts. You've seen them on a bowling team shirt. You've seen them on a diner. Okay, yeah, this is going pretty well, I'd say. But it's easy to do, the copy. And I'm sorry to the audio-only people out there. You can check this out. We'll put this up over at, I'll post this. My first post on r/The Tom Gully Show will be my fan art. And hopefully that'll get people going. I really do want to see you guys make that fan art out there. Now, I can't really see the E. And this is the problem I'm going to run into is I don't know the characters for all the words I'm going to put here. So I don't know what they're supposed to look like. But this is pretty, man, this is actually, I think I did a really good job here, to be honest. Even though he wouldn't help us out with the font. I think that's pretty good. Okay. All right. Tom Gully. And then what you do, he's got those little diner style stars everywhere. You know what I'm talking about? You give it one of those stars. Perfect. 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 Now, here's the important part. We got to give it the message. Allstate or Ball State. You know, whatever. He probably just worked for Allstate at some point, too. All right. So here's the tough part. We've got to write is not a pedophile. Now, I don't know what a P looks like in this font. All right, I'm just going to kind of wing it with the P. We got to make sure we get pedophile in there. So, all right, so I know the E looks like because I've got the E here. Pedophile, okay. There's no D, that sucks. All right, I'll just kind of wing that one too. Pedo, okay, we've got the O, so the O is good. Pedo, and again, no P's, so we're just going to copy our first P there. No H's. All right, this is getting tough, I got to be honest. And I'm kind of growing tired of drawing this since I don't have anything to go by. Pedophile. Okay, we've got the L, so that's easy. And then the E again. All right, pedophile. There we go. Okay, now we got to write is not. All right, we've got the so I don't know what the I looks like. We'll just freestyle that one. Is okay, and we don't have an S either. That sucks, but what are you gonna do? Is we've got I got it's not just is not pedophile. I gotta have an A in there. I know what the A looks like in this font because I've seen very similar fonts. So that'll be easy. There we go. All right, now this is the tough part. I have no idea what an N would look like in this font. Not. Oh wait, that's lowercase. Ah, shit. I'm running out of room anyway. You know, I'm getting tired of this. There you go. All right, what? Ah, shit. Fuck. Can I go back on the telestrator? Okay. All right. Well, anyway, you get the idea. Tom Gully is not a pedophile. There you have it, folks. Screenshot that. I kind of screwed that. All right, we'll just make that a star. You know, that's just another one of those diner stars. Looks just like his logo. As soon as he tells me what the font is, I'll correct this, okay? You know what? That's starting to look like something else, actually. He looks like he's getting called something else on the internet again. Anyway, whatever. You guys get the point. Tom Gully, he's a nice guy, and give him a break. Make those fan arts and let people know Tom Gully is not a pedophile. And Tom, as soon as I get that font from you, is this live? Is this live? Oh God, is this live? Is this live? Okay, I think it's live again. Jesus, wow. Well, that's what happens when you're live, and then you're not live, and then you're live, and then you're not live. And I think all of this, it's pretty obvious at this point, could have been solved if we had just gotten that font from Tom. So as soon as we get that font, Tom, I promise you. But in the meantime, we'll get all this fixed. Trust me, one day this won't happen anymore. We won't have Tom-style Skype problems. Is this live? Is this live? I really need to know, is this live? Is this live? If you want to check out all of Tom's shows streamed actually live, you can join the Pizza Fund. And tonight, we will finish out that video in the Pod After Show, ladies and gentlemen. So stick around for that one in the Pizza Fund, $6 level and up, podawful.pizza. I hope to see you there. Until next time, have an awful day. Oh, that's the wrong thing. Outro now!
Head over to podawful.com/iTunes and subscribe to us on iTunes. We're live every Sunday, Wednesday, and Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern at podawful.tv. Love the show? Keep it going by donating to the Pizza Fund. podawful.com/support. And anything else you need is at podawful.com.
I told ya, if you just say, is this live, it'll